beautiful thing right now.
Rise and shine. It's a beautiful day. I am alright.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
This is the bridge to the white light.
Our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad.
Crazy evil.
Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. This is the Morning Dump. I am your host, Jose Galison. We have a few things to get through today. It feels like kind of like a Friday. It's not no crazy huge stories particularly, but a bunch of kind of grab bag stuff that we may have not gone throughout the week, and then just kind of filling in the cracks of the week. So I think this will be good. It'll be a good one. There is some interesting stories, though. I will tell you that. Just so far as the big what's hot, I know there isn't really this today. There ain't really a lot of what's hot. I mean, we've had some crazy news the past few weeks. So, but yeah, we have a fun little thread to dig back into the past, some Manson shit, digging into kind of the state of the current administration, the oddity of the Democrats joining into the Epstein dunking. And a lot more that we will get into later. But to start it off, before I say my good mornings to everyone, let's take a moment. We'll let the class roll in, and much like I don't know why can I never think of the person, a substitute. There you go, substitute teacher. Much like a substitute teacher, when they're coming in, we're gonna settle in with a little video. And for today, the video that I figured might be cool. Whatever, it was just an excuse to give something for the thumbnail because I didn't really have any other good people to put in the thumbnail. So let's Alex Jones. I've had this saved for a few days. Kind of want to see what Alex Jones' take is on this. I know we may have covered this show, or maybe it's something I watched myself. It's always hard to parse out what I've shared with you guys. But I know there was I've watched the video. Maybe I watched with you guys. I can't recall of Alex when he first got the news of the whole Epstein thing. He legitimately did the old video in the car type thing with him crying and be like, I'm gonna puke. I'm gonna puke. Like doing that. He said I don't know. I didn't watch the whole. I don't think I watched the whole thing. So like I don't know if he did end up puking or not. But that was. I don't know. Either way, a whole emotional thing. But now it seems he has settled into. Oh, this is they have leverage in the deep state. Oh, it's the government. What it is a Trump administration getting their own compromat so they could use it against the deep state. So let's go to watch this. I don't know. I'm already giggling a little bit. Let's see where he goes with this. Maybe Alex makes a good argument. I have no idea. Let's see.
And so, if they were going to use the blackmail file, they would just shut up about it and then say they were investigating and slow roll it. Instead, we've got it. It's going to come out. Not just Bondi, all of them. That's loading the gun, putting the deep state's head, saying, we'll do it. We've sent it to the FBI offices around the country. We'll do it. And then they come back and say, fine, we'll stop our attacks on you. We'll roll over. We'll get out of the way of your project to relaunch America and all the great things you're doing. But you got to come out and say it's closed and it's over so that you're tied to it so that you can't ever stab us in the back. And then this is what you get. That's how this stuff works. And that's what I believe has gone on. And I wasn't sure of it yesterday, though my gut was. And now I know it. And it makes me feel sick because we need Trump to succeed. He's not a pedophile from everything I know and also my gut. And I operate off the Holy Spirit as well. And literally I prayed about it.
Guys, the Holy Spirit told them, all right?
9+ years ago, God said, no, support Trump. And you've seen all the evil come against me and my operation because of that. And now you see the good fruits of what Trump's doing on so many fronts. And they're massively cutting off the human trafficking, the sex slavery. So they've cut that spigot off that we know Mayorkas and the Democrats were running, and we know they're pedos. I mean, we know it's in the WikiLeaks. And so I'm having to balance all of this in my mind, but I cannot sit here and watch Trump when he's having so much success, metaphorically, put a shotgun to his foot and blow it off.
Okay, yeah, this is not a good argument. Not a good argument at all. This is just frankly, it's awful. I mean, I don't know. He even does come to the end like, oh, I hate to see Trump shoot himself in the foot. So even he, like, within this little rant, recognizes the retardation of this. So it's like, at the very least, okay, then now you are such a degree of bending over backwards that you're like, oh, well, they're doing it to compromise the deep state. And but yeah, he even still, like I said, recognizes the flaw here. The flaw being, damn, I totally fucking slipped my mind. Oh, the idea. Okay, I know what I was getting at. The idea that, like, even if there is compromise, the idea that, like, hey, they ran on this. So, like, a lot, like, they like, hey, we're gonna do this. I mean, this is gonna be this whole Epstein thing. They got everybody all worked up about it. So, like, even if, like, the best case scenario, even by his, is like, hey, let's say there's some sort of, they're leveraging, they did it, and, like, frankly, like, even if we are to assume this is all some sort of espionage behind, it's still insanely fucking disgusting. And it still means that these people aren't going to see justice. It just means that you're just going to play more of the same dirty tricks before, but we're just going to keep this circle going. Like, I mean, I get it. In some sense, there is logic to, like, how leverage will work on people. But I don't know, just doing more of the same, and I get it, you know, there's just magic wand that you can just wave and everyone just fucking goes to jail or whatever, but, I mean, this isn't a binary here. I mean, with this whole situation, I mean, I kind of, from the jump, called, like, and kind of assumed in my head, I mean, I don't know if I said it publicly or not, I'm sure maybe I did, that I never thought we'd ever get anything even close to resembling justice for the Epstein case, like, at all. I thought they would do some sort of semblance of the myriad of different options that the deep state will do whenever it's trying not to release the truth, whether it's drag their feet or have someone that is a patsy or do some sort of something to cover up something, whatever. Whereas we didn't really get that at all. It was this frankly is the laziest cover up I've ever fucking seen. We've been covering this in and out day in, day out. And yeah, it's frankly appalling. It's insane. So, like, even if they're just trying to compromise the deep state, it's like, trust the plan. Yeah, I'm sorry. You kind of lose me here. The child rape thing's a bridge too far, and even if it is like, oh yeah, but we're going to use this to, I don't know, to leverage against the child rape. What? No, like, see, we're going to use the child rape to leverage against the child rapists. Like, you do realize that's just you going in a circle to get back to the status quo, right? Because that's literally exactly what the intelligence communities were doing. So now you're just saying, oh, but this is okay because now Trump can blackmail these people into doing what he wants. So, like, okay, this is just a glorified way of spinning that, yes, Trump is now the deep state. Because the funny thing is, actually, in a certain way, I'm saying this, and as I'm saying, I'm actually like, oh yeah, Alex is right. Not in the way that you think. In the bad way. In the way that, like, yes, everyone go, oh, he's the deep state. Yeah. Like, it's actually, in a certain sense, what Alex just described is that. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh yeah, that is literally exactly that. Like, how is it any different than the status quo before? Except the only difference now is the one holding the blackmail, theoretically, is Trump. And then we're supposed to assume that, like, he magically, like some monarch, is lording above all this blackmail and in no way is implicated himself by other actors, despite the fact this is all shadowy and hidden by the curtain. We're just supposed to assume, trust Trump. Okay, yeah. Miss me with that case shit. All right, guys, let's roll through the chat, see what you guys got to say. Holler at you. And then we'll get into some of the stories, do our normal rigmarole with foreign policy, our foreign policy roundup, and then we'll get through the topics. So, good morning, Andrew Jacobs. He says he just joined the Telegram. He sure did. I do want to say for the patrons, that is a Patreon perk. and I have been very naughty for a while and not been putting the link up, and my patrons were like, what the hell? So it's out there now. For the patrons, go check the Patreon. Very recently, I put up a post with the link to the Telegram. Unfortunately, I mean, Patreon does have like a system which will allow you to link socials to it. I couldn't find a way to link Telegram. For some reason, there's not an option for Telegram. I don't know. I mean, it is more of a phone-based thing, so maybe it's because it's on the computer. I don't know. Anyways, I'll just have to semi-regularly put out a post on Patreon with the link to be able to join the group. So, or as always, just kind of, if you have some method to contact me, I can be pretty bad about getting back to you, but especially if I know you're a supporter, I usually do try to at least follow you back on whatever social you're using. That way, say on Twitter, I'll actually see your DMs as opposed to somebody who's not a mutual, to make this whole system a lot easier. I mean, if you're giving me money, let's be real. I know I can give you a follow, and it'll make things a lot easier. So, just throwing that out there, so all the different ways you can get the Telegram, but it should be up there recently, and there. Also on that, with me being awful about communicating, I'm better on Telegram. The reason why is I'm a boomer, and I do a lot of stuff on exclusively on my computer, and some stuff on my phone. Telegram I do on my phone. So you guys, if you do want to, as a Patreon, have, I guess, access to me or talk to me or whatever, and know that I'm actually seeing this more regularly, that's the way to go. And so I'm sorry, I am bad. I only do Patreon on desktop. So I will try to be less of a tech boomer in my as I get older. But I don't think the prospects are well. I see an N tower forming over at Rumble. Nice. Good morning, Knife Safety Plus. Good morning, Tilla Spook. Good morning, JMS. Good morning, Tom33 with the I. Guten Morgen. Good morning, Nevsky. I have some of your tabs up today. Good morning, JMS. Good morning, Mulgera85. They brought the G. Eddie Grimm with the G. Good morning. Good morning, Mike Mortal. Good morning, Rootless Redneck. I already said JMS. Good morning, King David. Good morning, Shy Yuon. Jose Lazy teaching after a hangover. If anything, it's actually funny. It's actually the exact opposite. I actually kind of feel like in a weird energy funk, because as of late, I've been making a regular practice of working out or running, most of the time both, but shortly before the show. So I kind of have an energy high coming into the show. Did not today. Today was my rest day, and I went for a run, which even then on my rest days, I usually go for a run, but I went for a run late last night with the kiddos. So, I mean, I wasn't going to go for a run late last night and then, early in the morning. So, JBS, good morning, Dr. Nick and Riviera. Ooh, a doctor in the house. Ask him any medical questions. Throw in the chat, guys. Boomer Slayer, good morning. Good morning, JMS again. I'm adding, he said, what real man hasn't cried in the car on a live stream? I mean, I've cried in the car, but not on a live stream. Maybe one day we'll get there. Trump cope is insane. It sure is. And we will get into some of that cope later. Good morning, Tipster. Good morning. It's an intentional lazy cover-up just as a kick to the face of the people, says Mulgera85, 100%. Good morning, Real Deford, says, what up? Is it bad I liked AJ more when he was on the sauce? Is he not on the sauce right now? I guess he looks less in the sauce. I don't know, he was buffer a while ago, but he's still kind of, I guess maybe he's off the sauce. I'm like, maybe he's off cycle right now. I don't know, maybe he'll go back on cycle. Yeah, he does look pretty dope, I'm not going to lie. I know a lot of people shit him like, oh, he's on the roids and it's ruining him. I'm like, dude, I've been on roids before. Roids are fucking dope. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, do you want to just be extra awesome? Yeah. Yes, please. Okay, I say that with sort of tongue-in-cheek. There obviously are pros and cons, and it's something you do have to really kind of know what you're doing. But I do think a lot of these steroid stuff, to some extent, bear in mind I'm not a doctor. Maybe ask the doctor to chat. I think a lot of it's scare tactics. Go watch Bigger, Faster, Stronger. It's one of my favorite documentaries on that. I think it's kind of is what it is. I mean, I don't know if that's what you want to do. Obviously, there's pros and cons, but I think people get gay about it. I totally get it. I'm not going to lie. If I get older, especially with the money in place, like when I'm like Alex's age, yeah, I'm getting on the sauce, doggy. I'm getting fucking yoked. Hell, I would do it right now. I just don't really have the time to put in. I mean, really, when it comes to roids, it's a matter of you need to be in a spot where you have the time to put in literally 3 probably plus hours working out damn near daily, or else you're wasting your sauce basically. So I'm not in a position like that right now, nor do I really really want to spend that type of money. But one day when you just see me and like this, you'll be like, oh fucking, well, I guess Jose is crushing the podcast scene because he's fucking yacked. That's when you'll know I made it, when I'm suffocating myself with my traps. Good morning, everyone. Let me see what else you guys got to say. See y'all chit-chatting. All right. John Black, good morning. Good morning, Rise Celebrity. Good morning, Queen Calnads. Good morning, everybody. Off the booze, maybe on some TRT. Let's fucking go. Let's get sauce, baby. You know what? I think we should all, as like a group, we should all get sauce. That way it's just like, what is this group of people and why are they absolutely fucking yacked out of their mind? I don't get it. And you're like, it'll be fucking dope. I think it'd be cool. Drugs are expensive. Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. I just can't afford roids right now. If I could afford roids and had the time to work out 3+ hours, I'd be roided. So, like, I don't know, it sounds to me like a bunch of haters hating on the game. So, yeah. Yeah, Jose will get more yoked the more people sub. Yeah, I need to put out one of those tweets that, like, for every sub I put on 1 pound of muscle or whatever. So, going on group TRT therapy. Yeah, I like this idea. I do like this idea. We can buy in bulk and get discounts. Yeah, this is a good idea. We should create some sort of like Patreon tier for it. Yeah, going from skinny wop to jacked Roman would be hilarious. Are you calling me a skinny wop? I'm not a skinny wop. I'm pretty thick, dude. I'm still like 195 and I'm a fucking midget. So yeah, Queen Calnad's finally joined the Patreon. Yeah, the whole team's getting together, people. I did see that. Appreciate you joining me. As I did warn you, I am god awful about responding on there. I do put out the posts and stuff, but Telegram, that's where you want to go, and we can all hang out. All right, guys, that is enough. Let's go ahead and get into... I know we're kind of having a little bit of fun there, goofing, but now we're getting into the sad. Here we go. This is one we covered yesterday, but I did tell you guys I did want to read it, because I think it's worthwhile reading. Because this one's pretty fucking fucked. This is the one from 972 we talked about yesterday with Dave DeCamp, which, by the way, if you guys didn't see that, please, I would recommend go and check it out. I thought it was pretty good, even if you just watch the foreign policy portion, which is like the first hour. I thought it was a great conversation. I've gotten actually a lot of feedback from you guys saying it was as well. Weirdly enough, though, I noticed that YouTube didn't reflect the metrics, at least on YouTube particularly, didn't seem to reflect that, even with the likes, because it seemed to, like, I don't know, point being is... I sense artificial something or other. Not saying that should have been like something that did like thousands or anything viral, but it's like usually an episode like that would have done at least a couple hundred more or something. So I'm like, what the fuck? Just feels like we're feeling suppression, which, funny enough, we're going to cover a Dana Duda tweet later, or thread later. And, you know, that thing ironically on that, that thing we talked about the other day, actually it might have been yesterday, where we talked about her thread, her Scientology thread. Apparently, I was checking out last night, and that thing got blown up by fucking bots. If you look at her post, and I think it was probably because it started catching steam and getting kind of viral, and then all of a sudden you saw, remember this was a Scientology one, and those are the prime fucking glowies, let's be real. And it was something insane. If you looked at her post, I wish I had it up, because I'm only mentioning it now because I recalled it, and I thought it was, I forget what we were even talking about, why it tied into it. But I do think it's interesting in the, like, how I remember why, because of the artificial, the metrics, and I know I sound like I'm schizophrenic and being like, I'm telling you it should be better, and I sound like I'm kind of coping, but no, you see these metrics enough, you can kind of just tell. I feel like something artificial is going on here. But anyways, so this one, obviously, with Dana's far more over the top and over, there's no avoiding it, in my opinion. You look at her post, and it's like, it's something retarded, like 500 plus retweets, and then I think she has maybe a couple hundred likes. So it's like almost a 3x fucking ratio of retweets to likes, which is insane. Like I don't even understand, aside from a crazy ratio, like someone said something retarded, you don't ever see that. And even then, that's only when they lock it, because even then it wasn't even like, and once again, if you're not deep into Twitter, you're like, what the fuck? But even then, even her replies she wasn't ratioed via replies, she was ratioed via retweets. So they essentially weaponized bots online, low quality bots, and because essentially they've rigged the algorithm. So if you have low followers, or if you have, or low quality, i.e. look like spam, a bot, if you get lots of followers or likes or retweets, they deboost you. And this is a trick that they've been pulling for a long time that a lot of us have noticed. There's been a lot of people complaining. It was probably about a year, maybe two ago, where a lot of us were going, what the fuck is with all these fucking bots? We were getting just a deluge of just we'd pop on Twitter and be like, what the fuck? 100 bots followed me today. And you can just tell. You look at the things that are just, weird bunch of numbers, whatever the fuck. You can tell when you see a bot. So this is how they do it. So you see these people, you see people like me or other people, truth tellers out in the world, and you're like, why? If you ever wonder, hey, why are these guys not crushing right now? And I think some of us do fairly well, and I'm not really trying to complain. To some extent, there are things a lot of us can work on, obviously, but there clearly is a finger on the scale, like hidden behind the scenes, and it's impossible not to notice it. I know we sound like we're coping or whatever, but it's like, it's undeniable. I've got an insane amount. I've seen it in real time, the deboosting happen. So it's like, it's just not... It's a thing, and this is why you see the real truth tellers that will do like kind of like middling type thing usually. So very rarely do you have one that blows up and manages to get past it. So, and this is why we need to group together and work together, because they are fighting against us. I actually retweeted or quote tweeted that when I said something like as like, look at this, as like, this is what they do to manage perception, is like, this is why you need to be retard like me and boost the fuck out of it when you see shit like this. And I kind of do believe that. I do genuinely, whenever I feel like I see anything online that I could just feel like, I'm just kind of sensed with the force of the metrics, like I can tell the metrics are being fucked with here, I make a point to boost it, just because fuck you, Glowies. And it probably doesn't help me, because also there's algo stuff that if you are amplifying low quality stuff, yet you vice versa, get deboosted. So it is it's a hard game, and every which way you go, you kind of get deboosted. But I mean, retards together strong, apes together strong. So I think to some degree, if we just all group together and forge forward with idiocy and disregard for the algo, that we can kind of forge a new path and get something akin to success. But anyways, that was quite the rant over I don't even know how we got there. Went I think we went like 3 tangents aside. Started off with this Gaza thing. So let's go ahead and read this. Like I said, this is the murder machine over here going on over Israel. This is I don't know. You guys know. Let's go and go through it. The Israeli military has weaponized a fleet of Chinese-manufactured commercial drones to attack Palestinians in part of Gaza that it seeks to depopulate, an investigation button by 972 magazine and local call can reveal. According to interviews with 7 soldiers and officers who served in the Strip, these drones are operated manually by troops on the ground and are frequently used to bomb Palestinian civilians, including children, in an effort to force them to leave their homes or prevent them from returning to evacuated areas. Soldiers most commonly use EVO drones produced by the Chinese company Autel, which are primarily intended for photography and cost around NIS $10,000, approximately $3,000 on Amazon. So these are $3,000 Amazon drones that they are using. However, with a military-issued attachment known internally as an iron ball, a hand grenade can be affixed to the drone and dropped with a push of a button to detonate on the ground. Today, the majority of Israeli military companies in Gaza use these drones. An Israeli soldier who served in the Rafah area this year, coordinated drone attacks in a neighborhood of the city that the army had ordered to be evacuated. During the nearly 100 days his battalion operated there, soldiers conducted dozens of drone strikes, according to daily reports from his battalion commander that 972 and local call reviewed. In the reports, all Palestinians killed were listed as terrorists. However, S testified that aside from one person with a knife in a single encounter with armed fighters, the scores of others killed, an average of 1 per day in his battalion's combat score, were unarmed. According to him, the drone strikes were carried out with the intent to kill, despite the majority of victims being located at such a distance from the soldiers that they could not have posed any threat. It was clear that they were trying to return to their homes. There is no question, he explained. None of them were armed, and nothing was ever found near their bodies. We never fired warning shots, not at any point. Because the Palestinians were killed far from where the soldiers were positioned, S said that their corpses weren't collected. Instead, the army left them to be eaten by stray dogs. You could see it on the drone footage, he explained. I couldn't bring myself to watch a dog eating a body, but others around me watched it. The dogs have learned to run around areas where there's shooting or explosions. They understand it probably means there's a body there. Here's one of these drones, which it does look pretty cool. Soldiers testify these drone threats are often carried out against anyone entering an area the army has determined is off limits to Palestinians, a designation that is never demarcated on the ground. 2 sources use variations of the phrase learning through blood to describe the army's expectations that Palestinians will come to understand these arbitrary boundaries after civilians are killed upon entering the area. There were many incidents of dropping grenades from drones, said H, a soldier who served in the Nuseirat area in central Gaza, Were they aimed at armed militants? Definitely not. Once a commander defines an imaginary red line that no one is allowed to cross, anyone who does is marked for death, even just for walking in the street. In several cases, S said Israeli troops deliberately targeted children. There was a boy who entered the off-limit zone. He didn't do anything. Other soldiers claimed to have seen him standing and talking to people. That's it. They dropped a grenade from a drone. Another incident, he said, soldiers tried to kill a child riding a bicycle a great distance away from them. In most cases, there was nothing you could tell yourself. Yes, continued. There was no way to complete the sentence. We killed them because... An officer who was involved in operations around Khan Yunis this year said that a primary goal of these attacks was to ensure that neighborhoods were emptied or remained empty of Palestinians. In June, his unit flew a drone into a residential area that the army had ordered to be evacuated the previous month. Soldiers stood at the city's outskirts, watching a small screen showing live footage from the drone to see who was still in the neighborhood. Whoever they spot, they kill, A testified. If people are moving around there, it's a threat. He said the assumption is that any civilian who remained in the area after evacuation orders is either not innocent or will learn through blood that they must leave. Earlier this month, Palestinian journalist Yunus Tirawi published footage he had obtained of one of these drones dropping a grenade, which, according to him, targeted civilians in the Netzarim corridor in northern Gaza. On the drone controller screen, the next iron ball drop device appears. Based on the interface design and additional images reviewed by 972 and local call, there's strong evidence the drone was an Autel model. So here is the video. Let's watch this together. It's kind of loud. Jeez. 1 second. Let me turn that down. Let's go. Oh, hell, this is actually from the perspective of that, because you just saw the finger, like he's like looking at a screen. All right. Oh, looks like someone running. Oh, bonk. Oh, shit. Okay, yeah, I don't know. It didn't really look like they got that guy. I mean, enough to knock him over. I don't know. But either way, it's still fucked up. They're just like dropping grenades on people. All right, it resembles a miniature airport. According to soldiers who spoke to 972 and local call, the main benefit of using commercial drones like the EVO model manufactured by Autel is that they are vastly cheaper than the military-grade equivalents. For example, the Elbit Hermes 450 model, also known as Zik, operated by the Israeli Air Force, costs around $2 million per drone. Holy fuck. The commercial models can also be quickly rearmed and are operated on the ground by soldiers using joysticks without requiring approval from a strike command center. Man, I cannot even $2 million per drone. Like if you're talking about drones, like the little ones, if we're not talking like a Hellfire or whatever, like I don't know, what are we talking about? Like the you know what I'm talking about, I don't know, the Reapers or whatever the fuck, the ones that the Houthis shot a bunch of those down. I mean, I think that's technically a drone. I mean, that's a little bit more understandable being super expensive because that's like legit but if we're talking like these little drones, that's kind of wild. The reason everyone is using them now is they're dirt cheap, said L, who served in Gaza last year. From an infantry perspective, suddenly you can use way more firepower, way more easily. Okay, well, I don't really care so much about the drone stuff. I kind of want to see about them, what they're doing. Okay, here we go. 1 or 2 die and the rest understand. On June 13th, a few weeks after the Israeli army had ordered the evacuation of much of Khan Yunis, a 27-year-old Muhammad returned to the city with several other young men to check on the condition of their homes. When they reached the city center, a drone dropped an explosive on them. I ran to a wall to protect myself, but some of the young men were wounded, he told 972 in local call. It was terrifying. Muhammad is one of several Palestinians from Khan Yunis who told 972 in local call that the Israeli army is using armed drones to enforce evacuation orders in the city, displacing residents and then preventing their return. Oops, sorry, clicked. All right. The army's official plans involve displacing and concentrating Gaza's 2 million residents in the southern part of the Strip, first in Al-Mawazi and now on the ruins of Rafah. This aligns with Israeli political leaders' explicit intent to implement the so-called Trump plan and expel Palestinians from Gaza. Meanwhile, in northern Gaza, several residents told 972 in local call that they were recently forced to flee their homes after drones began targeting random people in their neighborhoods. Palestinians in Gaza commonly refer to these drones as quadcopters due to their 4 propellers. Reem, a 37-year-old from the neighborhood of Shujaiya in Gaza City, said she decided to flee south after a drone killed her neighbors. In March, the army flew quadcopters above us that broadcast messages ordering us to evacuate. She recounted, "We saw them drop explosives on tents to burn them. It terrified me. I waited till nightfall to leave my home and evacuate." Yusuf, 45, described a similar incident on May 11th when Israeli drones, which he described as surprisingly small, dropped explosives in different areas of Jabalia to force residents to leave. After defying Israel's evacuation orders for months, this was the incident that led him to flee his home and move south. Drones have been reported to have targeted residents near humanitarian aid centers. Mahmoud, 37, told 972 in local call that when he went from Khan Yunis to an aid distribution center near Rafah on June 23rd, a quadcopter dropped a bomb on a group of people. Dozens were injured and ran away. The testimonies from soldiers interviewed on this article line up with previous reporting that the army has marked certain areas of Gaza as kill zones, where any Palestinian who enters is shot dead. Soldiers told 972 in local call that the use of drones has expanded the size of these kill zones from the range of light firearms to the range of a drone flight, which can extend up to several kilometers. Oh, so we're trying to sell to, we can keep a wider range, so we can make the kill zone bigger with these. Isn't that great? There's an imaginary line. Anyone who crosses it dies. As explained, you expect them to understand this in blood because there's no other way. No one marks that line anywhere, he said. The size of the zone was a few kilometers, but that it changed constantly. You can send a drone up 200 meters high, and you can see 3 to 4 kilometers in every direction, said Y. Another soldier who served in Rafah. You patrol like that, you see someone approaching, the first who gets hit with a grenade, and after that, the word spreads. 1 or 2 more come, and they die. The rest understand. S said that drone fire was directed at people who were walking suspiciously. According to him, the general policy in his battalion was that someone who walks too fast is suspicious because he's fleeing. Someone who walks too slowly is also suspicious because it suggests he knows he's being watched. So he's trying to act normal. Wow, that sounds a lot. What's the movie? Fucking Full Metal Jacket? Isn't that what it's from? Where they're shooting the fucking Vietnamese? Yeah, that's literally that. Soldiers testified that grenades were also dropped from drones at people who were considered to be messing with the ground, a term the Army originally used for militants launching rockets, but which over time has expanded to incriminate people for something as simple as bending over. That's the ace. The moment I say messing with the ground, I can do anything, he explained. One time I saw people picking up clothes. They were walking incredibly slowly, skimming the edge of the zone, and stepped 20 meters in to collect clothes from the rubble of a house. You could see that's what they were doing, and they were shot. This technology has made killing much more sterile, H said. It's like a video game. There's a crosshair in the middle of the street, and you see a video image. You're hundreds of meters away, sometimes even a kilometer or more. Then you play with a joystick, see the target, and drop a grenade. And it's even kind of cool, except this video game kills people. Autel did not respond to 972 and local calls request for comment. In the past, the military say that it opposes the use of drone products for military uses that violate human rights. After the U.S. Congress accused it of supporting Russia's invasion of Ukraine and helping China suppress Uyghurs and other minorities. All right. You'd think they'd try to figure out a way to not sell it to the government. I don't really know if maybe they're just ordering them straight off of Amazon. I don't know. But, yeah. Although detailed questions from the IDF spokesperson, they initially declined to answer them. After the article was published, a response was sent that does not specifically address the allegations in the article and states the IDF categorically rejects the allegations that it is acting intentionally to harm uninvolved people. Army orders explicitly prohibit shooting at uninvolved people. Uninvolved, what a unique word you're using there. What a weird word to use. Uninvolved. Sounds to me like we just read an article where they gave a whole bunch of reasons why you could say how they were involved or suspicious of being involved. Whatever the fuck that means. The IDF is committed to international law and allegations of violation of the law, and orders will be thoroughly examined by the authorized mechanisms in the IDF. Man, uninvolved. They keep coming back to that. What an awful fucking word to use, because that literally is so vague that it can literally apply to damn near all of Palestine, all of the Palestinians or whatever. All right, well, that's the article, guys. Fucked up stuff. Yeah. So it's not looking good. I mean, we're going to talk about Russia here in a second, too. So we got, we're picking up the artillery cells and precision rockets to Ukraine after a brief pause. So we're picking up. We're sending missiles over to Ukraine. Isn't that great, guys? Isn't that great? So the U.S. military has begun delivering 150 or 155 millimeter artillery shells and GMLRS missiles to Ukraine after briefly pausing the shipments. Reporting Wednesday, the reports that the Pentagon had halted a shipment. And so we had talked about this recently, and I think this was part of the talks that he mentioned that that was hey, that wasn't me who decided to halt them. So we're bringing them back, and so now this is what's happening here. They are bringing it back, and with that, we're it's getting a little dour looking at Russia stuff. So we're gonna get into another Russia story in a second. Let's roll through the chat and see what you guys got to say. I'm totally down with doing cycles, says Eddie Graham. Let's do it, dude. Dude's saying he's skinny as fuck. Okay. Hey guys, how can we shrink our nuts as a group? Hell yeah, dude, let's do it. Well, okay. Well, go do a bunch of cream pies first, and then you're good. So, yeah, yesterday's episode was great, says Mulgara. Dave's awesome. Always my daily rotation. Yes, he is great. He's awesome. James says, Scientology still left to me. Zionies to the right. Here I am stuck in Central Florida with you. Oh, you're around me. Hell yeah, dude. Oh shit. By the way, I keep forgetting to. I think there's supposed to be, I don't know if I think Dave is doing, I think he's doing a debate with like Josh Hammer this weekend. I keep meaning I need to look up and see if there's like tickets or something. Cause I've heard that that's in Tampa. So just throwing that out there, JMS. Maybe we should meet up. I got to look into that. So I don't know if you look into it before I do and see how much tickets are or where it is or whatever, send it over. I keep forgetting. It's one of those things I keep being like, oh, I need to do that. And then like 2 days later, I'm like, shit. So it'll probably be like Sunday. I'll be like, fuck, I forgot all about it. But I don't know. I'd like to go to that. So I don't know. We'll see. Tipster says, it's already evening here, so I'm just going to sip finished beverage called Lonquero. Or actually, they probably don't pronounce it like that. Or long drink. It's gin and something else. Not much percent, but it gets you. So I'm just warning ahead. Oh, that's all good. Get hammered. Have fun. It'll be more fun in the chat. Low quality, says JMS. Maybe I'm the spam bot after all. Yeah. Well, the fucked up thing is kind of, that was the argument too, sort of, was that like low quality it wasn't really like, I don't know, they kind of played both sides. They're like, oh, that's bots, but it's also the idea that like, I think it's so that people can't game the system or something, so you can't get a bunch of like 100 follower. Essentially, like a best example would probably be something like Towers. For those who aren't aware, why they really took off to begin with is they were kind of an algo hack. Because if you, the way the algo used to be set up is like if you have a bunch of engagement, and it was kind of strictly more along the lines of engagement. And so now if you create a tower, what that is a reply and a reply below that reply and a reply below that reply below, and so on and so forth, depending on how many characters you have. So to the view of an algorithm, that's a conversation. Obviously there's only like single characters or whatever, so maybe they could be like, this doesn't seem like a bustling conversation, but in a certain metric sense, that's a conversation. That's a bustling conversation. So. But the point being is then you could essentially, the perk of that, and it really took off during COVID. And I remember having a lot of fun with this when I didn't really have much of a following, because you just get together with a bunch of other buddies who don't have much followings, and then you just go find awful, horrible people. I don't know, like the kind of ghouls we talk about the show all the time, and you think of a creative slur or something to call them, or any of the people or anything, they'll freak them out. And then you add into that, now you get this like essentially a fairly massive algo boost. And so then now you have this essentially small gang of, what would have typically in the past have been inconsequential people to these journos, politicians, whoever, because these are people with 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 plus, followers, followers, 1,000 followers. And, they don't even usually see the replies from like the people like us that are like, fuck you, you suck. But when you get a handful of your people together and it created some sort of, hack into the algo, then boom, now you can make your message heard, and you can, there were some fun reactions. There were legitimately some people were like, oh my God, I'm like terrified. Some people call me enemy of the people. I'm a journalist. Oh, this is fascism. So we got a lot of stuff like that. It was pretty fun. So, but essentially it was kind of the apes together strong type of mentality, but they figured that out fairly quickly. And it's stuff like this, like the low quality stuff, that prevents it. But on the flip side, though, this also makes it so the tippy top people, the big gay fuck influencers, the Ian Miles Chungs of the world, now they're high quality, apparently, according to Twitter. So now they have their own group chats and stuff. I know this is a thing, and they help boost each other's shit, which is fine. That's what we used to do as the small ones. We had whole boost chats and everything back in the day. But it made it so that it was less effective on the lower end, but far more effective on the upper end. So you can see, anyone who can put two and two together, you can see how that is kind of fucked up, and how things can get out of whack. You're essentially giving all the power to these crazy, and frankly, like they say they're high quality, but they're low quality. They usually put out the shittiest stuff. It's just slop. It's slop from a lot of those large accounts. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm just kind of pointing out how they game it against you. I don't trust any media except Jose. Well, okay, that's probably not the greatest idea either. I am a bit retarded. All right. If you say you're innocent, you're guilty type of logic, says Glowy Niggerspick. My favorite name to say. A fast poly is an enemy, a slow poly is a well-disciplined enemy. Apocalypse. Okay. Good reference. That's from JMS. Gotta love the new boss, for sure. Yeah, he's doing another debate with Hammer for Turning Point, I believe. Charlie Kirk is moderating. Yeah, I think it's in like Tampa or something. That's the whole point. So I know JMS said he's around there. I'm like 45 minutes south of Tampa, so I was debating and maybe trying to figure out and see if I could go to that or something. All right, let's check out this story. The Russia stuff is heating up, unfortunately. So the top American and Russian diplomats met for the first time since February on Thursday. Secretary of State Rubio said he and Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov discussed a new and different approach toward peace. Rubio and Lavrov held talks on the sidelines with the Association of Southeast Asians in Malaysia. I think it's a new and different approach. I wouldn't characterize it as something that guarantees peace, but it's a concept that, that I'll take back to the president. We need to see a roadmap moving forward about how this conflict can conclude, and then we shared some ideas about what that might look like. We're going to continue to stay involved where we see opportunities to make a difference. The talks last about 50 minutes. Russian Foreign Ministry issued a statement following talks saying the diplomats engaged in a substantive and frank exchange of views. The importance of further work to normalize the operation of both countries' diplomatic missions was emphasized, the statement reads. The Russian and U.S. foreign policy agencies will continue constructive and mutually respectful dialogue on a growing range of issues of mutual interest. The meeting between Rubio and Lavrov came after German Chancellor Friedrich Merz asserted on Wednesday that diplomatic efforts to resolve the Russian-Ukraine conflict had been exhausted. In recent days, Trump seemed increasingly frustrated with Russia, expressing disappointment with Putin. I know we have more on this later. I mean, obviously we talked on the missile stuff. So, I mean, yeah, here they are saying, "Oh, we're talking." I don't know what use that really is. I mean, we remember this is a lot of the same stuff we were hearing from Iran too. And given some of the stories we covered, and actually another one we're getting ready to cover here in a little bit, it's kind of like, I don't know, I'm a little bit doubtful, and I'm a little bit concerned about where this could go. Also, here we have the Israel's urging us to start bombing Yemen again. So, I mean, I'm not going to really go too deep into this one, but citing Israel's Khan public broadcast, at Times of Israel reported that Israel told the U.S. that the Houthis can no longer remain solely an Israeli problem and called for more intense combined attacks against Houthi regime targets, not just Israeli Air Force jet strikes, but also renewal of American attacks and the formation of a coalition, including additional countries. Israeli officials said that a broad coalition is needed to convey to the Houthi regime that is in danger. So, I mean, hopefully we don't go this route. I know we just covered this, I believe, yesterday. They did attack a couple commercial ships, but we've already been down this, and those were, I believe at least one of them was legitimately actually going to Israeli port. Not saying that makes it okay, but they did kind of state, like, hey, we're going to buck up anything that tries to go to Israel. And that one did try to go to Israel. So, I mean, I'm not saying that's okay. I would prefer they didn't, but once again, we already went down this road. We backed off, and it's still, and we came to an agreement at the end of it with the Houthis that, like, hey, just the agreement was kind of like they agreed that, hey, we're not going to fuck with any of your shit as long as it's not going to Israel, and that was good. At least that's my understanding. And nope. So it looks like I wouldn't be surprised if we end up back in there. Now, will we? I don't know. We'll see. Let's roll through the chat, and then we'll get into some pretty fucked up stories we got here, unfortunately. Let's see what you guys got to say. Oh, well, no, you guys are being not so chatty in there. All right, let's get into the next story. Israeli airstrike slaughters 10 children waiting for nutritional aid near a medical clinic in Gaza. This one's pretty fucked up. I'm not going to play the video of the aftermath here. I figured we just show you the video what happened. It was just an airstrike near. There's like these clinics that they screen people for essentially issues with nutrition, and then they give them nutritional supplements. So there are families waiting with children, because I mean this is going to be typically what it's for type thing. Women, children, maybe breastfeeding. I would assume stuff along those lines. So there's literally a line of people waiting there, and here we go. Here's the here's what happened right here. You get to see The airstrike itself, I mean, this is in the aftermath, so this one's not as gory. It's just a boom, and I don't think you really can make it out so well. But I think we can see in the background there, you can almost see, I think, what looks like, kind of people standing there. I mean, it's not greatest, but you do get to see the people walking by and them get hit. So boom, 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 and then boom. So, and then there's a whole line of people right by there. And yeah, so that's that. I mean, I don't know. I have half of mine too will play that, but it was pretty. This aftermath footage was fucking awful. I mean, it's just I think like so far as like serious injuries, it did at least. I would say it appears like the people walking by that we just showed get exploded may have been possibly. I don't know. Actually, now that I recall, I kind of watched the video. Maybe there was like one or two other people that looked like seriously injured. But I don't know. I really don't. Fuck it. Let's watch it. Because partially I'm like it's pretty. I'm a little bit worried that because I remember there was some pretty fucked up stuff that like could maybe even get this. I mean, I'm demonetized, whatever. So I guess fuck. Let's play it. Warning. I mean, I don't know. Go take a leak. Go drink some coffee. Whatever. If you don't want to see this, but I don't know. I think it's. I mean, especially since we started with the drone dropping grenades and stuff, and it's kind of like okay, well, here's video proof more of this. I mean, I don't know if this was necessarily a drone. Particularly, I don't know if we know even exactly what it is yet, but let's watch. And you can see those are obviously the men that were targeted. And then you can see other. Okay, so they did. Yeah, it wasn't just the people that were targeted. So it was bad enough to hit people nearby. So actually, I was wrong. For some reason, I recall that it's not as bad. So no, it did. Just awful. Just awful stuff. Let's see. I don't know. Let's see if maybe there's a. I don't want to read the whole article because it's just a video. Oh no, this killed 16 Palestinians. Fuck. For some reason, I thought it only really because I mean, you look at that one video I just showed you, it does look like the angle's awful, so you kind of really can't tell. So it does look like oh shit, but I guess it was nope. It's killed 16 people there. And then the fucked up thing, that was the immediate aftermath. You can even see the smoke. So some of those people you saw there that were moving around and stuff, those were probably the ones that died. Because, I mean, judging by the ones who were laying there clearly dead, that was less than 16 clearly. So some of those people writhing on the ground, that unfortunately those people are probably dead. Gross. All right. Also, to add to the grossness, Israel's receiving our bulldozers from the United States that we're sending over there to demolish Palestinian homes. So a U.S. shipment of Caterpillar D9 bulldozers arrived in the Israeli port of Haifa on Wednesday. Israel is conducting a record number of demolitions of Palestinian homes and structures in the occupied West Bank, East Jerusalem, and Gaza. Isn't that awesome? So I guess we didn't have enough of our fill in supporting the mission in Gaza. So now we're also going to expand it to East Bank and other such places. So isn't that great? We're evolving and we're in, the initial war crimes of Gaza, but now we're involved in the war crimes of the West Bank. Well, actually, it's not even a war crime. That's just international crime. What even that? I don't know. There definitely is you're not able to do that. Like that's the thing that always comes up all the time. Anytime West Bank comes on, and I forget comes up, and I forget the line that Israel takes. It's something like we're in the process because essentially what that is like that's the idea of like the West Bank that is an occupied nation that is I know what's the term like South Africa had or whatever where it's like a two-tier or whatever that's what that is, and that is illegal. Like that was a whole big thing I think we dealt with South Africa and stuff back in the day. Apartheid, that's the word I was looking for. I couldn't think of apartheid. So yeah, that's just pretty clearly apartheid, but I'm pretty sure the way they managed to, scapegoat or go around it or whatever the fuck is like, oh, well, we're working on it. So they always say like, oh, we're working towards it. So the idea is like, okay, well, we're in the process of doing that. And you're like, so it's just a flagrant fucking lie because everything they do says the opposite, but yet the world stage is basically, let's be real, it's basically run by the United States, which is debatably run by Israel. So it's like their buddy has a heavy finger on the scale. Like I'm pretty sure we even have veto power in a lot of these specific international, or maybe it's not the ICC, but that might be the UN. I forget the specifics on the different international fucking organizations. But we're doing the bad stuff. We're doing the naughties. So yeah, I know, great stuff, just great stuff, guys. And then on a positive note, Marjorie Greene is being based as fuck, an absolute queen. I mean, let's be real, she's a little bit on the retarded-based side of things sometimes, but hey, sometimes you need a fucking retard, and right now she's our retard. Representative Greene wants to remove $500 million in military aid for nuclear-armed Israel from NDAA. That's obviously significant that she would drop that. So, she said that she'll be introducing an amendment to remove $500 million in military aid for nuclear-armed Israel. And that's in quotes, just to emphasize that is, she put that shit in there. From the 2026 National Defense Authorization Act, marking a rare acknowledgement of Israel's nuclear weapons from a member of Congress. Like, I don't think people realize how big of a deal that is. The U.S. has a policy of ambiguity toward Israel's nuclear weapons program and does not acknowledge its existence or pressure Israel to sign the Non-Proliferation Treaty. It's estimated that Israel has somewhere between 90 and 300 nuclear weapons. I'm entering amendments to strike $500 million more for nuclear-armed Israel. It's important to say nuclear-armed Israel because they do have nuclear weapons, Greene told Steve Bannon on his War Room podcast. And we already give them $3.4 billion every single year in the state from the State Department. $3.4 billion every single year. They don't need another $500 million in our defense budget. That's for the American people's defense, Greene added. I'd prefer we just get it back. That'd be nice, but whatever. I mean, I guess I'd rather. I mean, if I have to choose, yes, sure, whatever. Give it to the military, our military, as opposed to Israel. The U.S. provides Israel with $3.8 billion in military aid each year under a memorandum of understanding signed between Israel and the Obama administration. Of that amount, $3.3 billion is provided through State Department's Foreign Military Financing Program, and $300 billion goes toward missile defense through the Pentagon. U.S. has also provided millions of dollars in additional military aid after October 7th. According to Israeli media, the U.S. has financed roughly 70% of Israel's war-related military spending since then. 70%. They couldn't have done any of this with us. They just couldn't. All right, guys, let's see what you guys got to say, and we'll get into the next story. Let's check in. All right, let's see what you guys got to say. All right, just DM'd you a link to the debate. Well, it doesn't appear there's a debate-only ticket. The link has information. Okay, we'll have to check it out. Hey, good morning, PGR. Just seeing you here. Jose blackpilling with some morning staff. I wouldn't say blackpilling. I mean, it's sad. I mean, it's just kind of, it is what it is. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say that's blackpilling. It's bummer, that's for sure. The fact that this is a daily thing, we can say and do see it daily, is truly haunting. Scrolling through apartheid. Yeah, I couldn't think of the name. How's there nobody helping these people? I mean, from the video, it looks like he just rolled up. And honestly, I don't speak Arabic, so I have no idea what the fuck they were saying. It looks like they were hollering, like, help, this, that, whatever. And so I don't know. It's way more than $3 billion also, says Nevsky. That's just military aid. Yeah, for sure. I believe you. Yeah, so that's crazy. Every day that passes Israel on Earth is a black pill, a hundo. All right, let's get into this story. This one's kind of wild. Daughter of New Jersey police chief accuses him, others of ritualistic abuse, years of sexual assault, court documents. The daughter of a New Jersey police chief claims he repeatedly raped her for more than a decade as part of a ritualistic cult allegedly involving their neighbors, according to a shocking lawsuit she filed. Courtney Tamagni's allegations against Leona Police Chief Scott Tamagni, his neighbor Kevin Sline, and others have starkly divided the small Bergen County borough. Bergen. Isn't the name of the bad guys and trolls? Both men say that the claims were thoroughly investigated as high as the federal government determined to be found. I swear, that is. I'm pretty sure the Bergens, wasn't that the... Maybe it wasn't what they were called, or Burgles, or I swear it was something like that. I know one of you guys is a dad out there, and you know who the bad guys and trolls were, because if that is like what they're called, that is kind of wild. That would be a funny, like, oh, look, the elites are telling us something. I don't know. I mean, maybe they weren't, but I don't know, whatever. Because, man, that would make sense if it was like the bad guys and trolls, and you understand how they were, and it's like, oh, this is some child trafficking area. I don't know. Slevin has countersued Courtney for defamation. But Courtney has taken her claims public, appearing on podcasts and social media, describing the alleged sex abuse in detail, and sparking a Change.org petition to suspend her top cop dad. The 20-year-old claims her father and Slevin heinously abused her in their home alongside ritualistic worshippers in the woods near their house, and that the father allegedly threatened to murder her mother if she ever spoke up, according to court docs. Which I'm pretty sure the mother actually is ends up being a part of this. So to give it a little more credibility, I'm not sure if it's mentioned in the article or not. We'll get into that. Courtney was brought into the woods in Rockland County, New York, and there was what appeared to be other middle-aged men present with masks on their faces, the lawsuit claimed. She recalls there being fire and animals being burned, and they would chant as if ritualistic. She was sexually assaulted in those woods by defendant Slevin, defendant father, and some of the other men present, it further claimed. The alleged abuse began in 2009 when Courtney was around 4 years old, with the lawsuit claiming continued until 2020 when she was 15. Both of Courtney's sisters were also allegedly subjected to abuse, according to the lawsuit, with their father allegedly using drugs to sedate them before assaulting them when their mother was either away or asleep with earplugs in a downstairs bedroom. The mother, Jeanne Tamagni, joined Courtney as a plaintiff on the lawsuit and is in the process of divorcing her husband. So yeah, they did bring her up. So yeah, the mother, she's joining her daughter. So, I mean, obviously, I don't know, this always could be jilted divorce type stuff, but obviously this would be a ludicrous level of it. So I would say that gives some level of more basis to this. Courtney also claims she suppressed memories of the abuse for years as a survival tactic. Yeah, that's what DID is. And that she only began recalling them after a visit to a doctor for genital pain. The doctor asked her if she'd been sexually abused, which brought back flashbacks, like suit claims. Her therapist eventually reported the abuse to authorities in 2022, the court papers say. She described those alleged memories in detail on the podcast. We're all insane in April, claiming that generations of her father's bloodline had been in a satanic cult alongside numerous neighbors in their North Jersey town, and that they ritualistically raped her and her siblings and even allegedly trafficked children and burned them alive in their local woods. Courtney claimed on the podcast that the neighborhood cultists had tunnels they would use to covertly operate their rituals, which allegedly included taking kids' bloods, drum circles, and burnings that would last all night. Burning of animals, animal skins, humans as well, she said in the show, claiming that much of the alleged violence was intended to terrify victims into silence. What scared us most is, okay, we're doing this to these people we've trafficked. Why wouldn't we do this to you? Because we just did that to this young girl or this young boy, she continued to relay on the episode, adding the alleged cult was part of a national cabal of Satanists engaged in Satan trafficking and child trafficking. Other alleged cult activities she outlined on the podcast included sick games that always ended with kids being assaulted. We would go into the woods, we would play games, which were not games, she claimed on the show, describing something supposedly called Hunters and Gatherers, where upwards of 10 kids were released into the woods and allowed to hide, and then cult members would allegedly chase them down, incapacitate them, and assault them. Oh yeah, like The Hunt. They made it as if it was a game and you could win, she claimed on the show. You weren't going to win, you were always going to be hit, they just wanted you to look terrified and run. Courtney also claimed that podcast her father used his position in local law enforcement to trap her in a world of abuse, and that anytime she reached out for help, she was rebuffed. In addition to suing her father and Slevin, Courtney also named the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office, the state of New Jersey, various state child protective services, and others. Chief Tamagni and Slevin have both vehemently denied the claims. It's made up of whole cloth, Slevin's attorney Kevin Corson told the Post. The entire complaint was previously investigated by everybody from Homeland Security to the Attorney General's office in New Jersey to the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office, and they found no basis at all for these outrageous allegations. Having got no satisfaction from law enforcement, she now decided to sue all the people who were involved in the investigation, Corson continued. These claims are on their face unbelievable. There is no way in the world there was some sort of secret satanic child sex cult operating out of Riverdale, New Jersey. This is a fantasy made up in her mind, he said, adding that Courtney's allegations are remarkably similar to the plots in several books and movies in particular. Oh, you're just crazy. These things never happen. Well, I can tell you, we've covered on the show quite a few times. This shit does happen. Literally in Israel right now, they're currently in the Knesset having hearings. Well, actually, not right now. This was like a month ago, so I don't know if they're still doing it. Hearings about some weird friggin' sex cult something or other that was involved in politicians. And I swear there was another one similar to that like a month prior to that. And then obviously there's, the Dutroux, you have fucking Franklin. I mean, we can keep going. I mean, we're well past the point of this is kind of like the, I bring up all the time, but don't look away, like the True Detective thing. It's kind of like once you stop looking away, it's pretty evident. It's pretty evident. It's out there. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess sure, maybe all of it's made up. I mean, maybe it's not, but it seems a little implausible to me. So, oh shit! I just realized I had two. Oh, I had the right post. I accidentally had the New York this post up tab up twice. So, but I had the right one up. So I was worried that you guys didn't even see me scrolling through the article. All right, let's see what you guys got to say. Been a minute since I checked in with y'all. So, I thank God every day I wake up for making me a kraut, says Tilla Spoke. What? Every Jew in Israel receives like $2 a month in Holocaust reparations, if I remember correctly. Oh, 2,000. No fucking way. No way. If someone can find that for me, please do. If that is a thing for sure, that's insane. I thought you were saying $2. I was like, okay. I mean, that's stupid. And I was kind of like, that's dumb that they even do that. Well, it's like $2. Like, whatever. $2K though. Holy shit. That's like what I mean, I don't know, not to get throw, but that's roughly around what I make off the, give or take. I mean, I'm not trying to throw much off the podcast, and I've put in years into this. Whereas they just had a great grandpa who fucking got jerked off to death or whatever the fuck it is they say. Oh man. Actually that's more than what I make off the shows. I just don't like to throw that out. That seems weird, but just to put it in perspective, like, what the fuck, dude? That is, that's like a, man, $2,000. That's like I'd say like a, lower middle class, like if they're getting paid twice a month, that's probably like, actually not even lower middle class, like maybe today's middle class. It's like a paycheck. So it's like half a month for them to get by. And that's just off of my grandpa got fucking, I don't know, what's another one? He got made into soap or some shit. I don't know. Well, that's ridiculous. So, Satan Trafficking is a good band name. Yeah, not bad. All right, scrolling through. Maybe not real Satanism, but sex cults are inherently satanic / evil. Yeah, the Satanism thing is kind of like I don't know, that's a misnomer, because even something like, well, I'm not a Satanist, I worship Moloch. And you're like, okay. Well, I worship Set. I worship this. Okay, let's be real. Like, you're literally advocating evil, because the common thing between a lot of them is like they'll be like, I don't know. I guess they'll try to like intellectualize it sometimes, but it's there. If you're like, it's kind of there. They say Satanism is as simple as self-worship. Yeah, and even then though, like, I don't know. As I've ranted on this before, like, because I've, technically in a sense there is like philosophy called like egoism, or like, where you kind of look at like framing things more from the working concentric circle, starting from yourself and working out, kind of deal. But if anything, I think it's actually a misalignment of that. Is kind of what I've come to think about it. Is that like because I guess maybe even self-worship maybe is the best way to put it too. But I'd say some people even say what I was describing a second ago was self-worship. But I'd say like kind of like and I know I've talked about like Teal. I think Teal is like a good example of what like maybe we're describing here, where it's like what he does. He clearly seems to be someone who wants to. Is very caught up in like legacy and the idea of like. I don't know, that the self, and then also the idea that he could never die. Like, he's very caught up in that. Like, he is, because I do think it very much is I do think that motherfucker is like into some satanic shit. And I don't mean literally Satan. I mean like what you're describing. And like I said, I think it's a misalignment, because you see somebody like a Teal, because like if we're operating in this idea of like concentric circles working out, think about my life. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I mean, like I have, my wife, my kids. So it's like I have children. I have a wife. I have a family. I have that inner circle, and then obviously within that inner circle is me, and then it goes out from there. Whereas somebody like a Teal, he's got some fucking fruity husband, and then some boy toys around the country, like, and then he's insanely obsessed with his legacy for people. So it's like, to me, this actually is kind of a misalignment of you get caught up so much in the concept of self that you seem to be. Like, I would think by this logic, you would then, therefore, those in that most innermost circle is the people those that you would care the most about how things affect them or whatever. Whereas things farther out, like the entire world, you would not give a fuck about. Like, that would make the most sense. Whereas this almost seems like a misalignment where you have the Teals of the world where they don't have that inner circle that's completely crumbling. They're like have an inversion where they're focused on the outside in some sort of aggrandization of themselves. And it's almost because they're missing the inside part. And so to fill that hole, they need everyone else to have that. They need the world to be their children, to be their family. And it's like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not here for that. You ain't my fucking daddy. And you're fucking weird. I'm not going to call you my dad, even if there's a fire. So that's the kind of way I look at it. I don't know. Like, tell me if I'm wrong. Obviously, I know a lot of my audience is religious, so you probably do think I'm wrong and have a different conception of it. But I know that's the kind of way I look at it. It seems like a misalignment of values, frankly. So, scrolling through. Yeah, $2K a month can buy so many Amazon drones. Yeah. My grandpa got to chill at a theme park in the 40s, and now I get $2K a month at 950 plus. It's a misalignment of Dionysus. Yeah, okay. The elite worship Mithras and all kinds of paganist deities and divas. It's not Satanism technically, but all Satan means is adversary. Their adversary is a creator and creation. I mean, yeah, I guess. Teal and his group seem to worship fallen angels in particular, says Jesus. I think there's a lot of different factions of insanity operating at the top. Yeah. There you go. Hustle Bone saying inversion is right. That's the highest satanic value. So yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it though, because it is like these people are empty. They have no, and they're dying to appeal to the entire world. I mean, I guess I say that as like a podcaster, but I don't know. I mean, hell, we even like literally on Tower Gang all the time would have purposely like just kind of wait just to fuck with you guys. I don't know. It's like, I'm not gonna ever really be one to, I guess, bend over backwards to get you guys to love me. Frankly, I mean, I'd hope you guys don't mind that I don't care about your opinions as much as I do my wife and children. That makes sense to me. Like I said, that seems the proper alignment of values to me. So, yeah, overt Satanism. Yeah, so is what they're saying. So I don't know. I think maybe that might be a good way to explain it, because I think everyone then goes to like, oh well, individualism's evil, or this is evil. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know about that. But yeah, once again, I think it's a misalignment. I think he didn't focus on creating anything for himself. So, there you go, Hustle. That's why we respect you, Jose. You'll only bend over forward to get us to love you. That's for sure. All right, let's get into the next one. This is ridiculous. We're in ridiculous territory. I mean, for those listening and not watching, the White House put out another thing, and I couldn't not share this. It's just so fucking corny. It says the symbol of hope, truth, justice, the American way, Superman, Trump, American flag emoji. And then here's a photo. They're playing off, they kind of made a rip off of Trump being Superman, and they literally have him in the Superman suit flying up. It says a Trump presidency, truth, justice, and the American way, Superman. It says the White House below it, which is insane. Like, even I know, like, I have some people who might even be a little bit more trusted players in there, but like, come on, you could admit this is gay, right? This is like, at the very least, like, come on, this is super mega cringe, super fucking gay, whatever you want to call it. Just what the fuck. And then also, like, especially if you're disgruntled, like a lot of us are right now, you're like, are you fucking kidding me? It's like you just slapped me, you fucking spit in my mouth, and then like you walked away for like a day, or walked away for like a couple hours, and mom just sitting here in shock, and then you just come back, and then you just fucking break me in my mouth again. That's what it feels like. You're like, what the fuck is this? Like, okay, you're fucking Superman, buddy. Okay. Then as I keep referencing it before, here's my buddy Jake Shields. Is this what you voted for, MAGA? And he's quote tweeting, President Donald Trump will invoke presidential authority to fast-track U.S. weapon shipments to Ukraine. And I've heard, and this I'm really more touching on, I think this actually might be referring to the story we talked about earlier, but I've also heard, I guess I didn't have the tab ready to go, but I've heard rumors they're getting ready to like another one of those. I don't know if you guys remember, which we haven't had one of these in a while, because the whole narrative is, we're trying to stop the whole thing over there in Russia. But I don't know if you remember back during the Biden administration, it seemed like damn near every other fucking week we were getting some sort of new Ukraine package. Oh, they need an emergency package. Oh, send them $100 billion. Well, there's all sorts of rumors floating around. Oh, yep, getting ready to send them $300 billion. Obviously, we got to wait to see if that materializes. Who knows? But I mean, just judging by what's going on aside from that Marco story, I guess we covered a little bit ago, that kind of was like, we sort of had a good conversation. That's the best you have to indicate the otherwise. So everything else, it seems like this is falling apart, and Russia's about getting ready to fucking just pound fucking Ukraine, or just, I don't know. And it looks like very well we might get I don't know if we'll get boots on the ground or to what degree we're involved, but it looks like we're going back to the status quo that we were promised we weren't going to get. And on this other realm of winning, U.S. FDA grants full approval for Moderna's mRNA COVID-19 injection for children aged 6 months to 11 years. Fucking just crushing, guys. Just crushing. Here we have Dominic Michael Trippi saying President Trump's net approval rating has fallen from +8 to -2 since mid-June. It is not looking good for our guy. But hey, with this though, we're getting all this. It seems like we're having two things happen at once right here. It seems like the narrative response from my perspective is I'm going to show you a few of these right now. We're getting, it seems like they're trying to float out some like piddly little gay, like, I know you guys are upset with the Epstein thing, but like, did you know, like, here's this fun little conspiracy, like, what do you guys think about, like, maybe us doing evil shit with weather and whether we're doing it now, but like, we're going to kind of imply we did it earlier, which we'll get into that in a bit. Here is, part of it. They're also kind of implying chemtrails and stuff. Kind of like, oh, look at this, look at that. Which, I mean, like, cool. If they do tell us, like, hey, chemtrails are a thing, and that's really fucked up, and I guess whatever's doing that's going to stop. Which even then, it's like, it's weird. Like, if you're telling us, if you're going to, I mean, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself since I don't know exactly what the claim here is, but if you're making some vague, like, ooh, chemtrails, and you're the government and geoengineering, and it's like, yeah, but like, you guys are the ones doing this. I mean, I guess maybe they're still stuck in this mindset of like, oh, well, that was the previous administration. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, at what point can we stop this go-to of, well, it's the previous administration? But either way, let's go ahead and play this video. This is Trump and EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin announcing the EPA will now compile and release everything they know about geoengineering and contrails. Let's go ahead and watch this. Oh, it's doing the volume thing again. Give me a second. I hate StreamYard so much.
Their government.
All right, let's do it again. My bad. All right, we're doing this again.
Concerned Americans have urgent and important questions about geoengineering and contrails. The American public deserves and expects honesty and transparency from their government when seeking answers. But for years, people who ask questions in good faith were dismissed, even vilified by the media and their own government. That era is over.
Oh yeah, do you guys remember? Why are you guys still talking about this? Yeah, fuck off.
Trump EPA is committed to total transparency. As a result, I tasked my team at EPA to compile a list of everything we know about contrails and geoengineering for the purpose of releasing it to you now publicly. In other words, I want you to know everything I know about these topics and without any exception. Instead of simply dismissing these questions and concerns as baseless conspiracies, we're meeting them head on. We did the legwork, looked at the science, consulted agency experts, and pulled in relevant outside information to put these online resources together. Everything we know about contrails to solar geoengineering will be in there. That means anyone who reads through this information will know as much about these topics as I do as EPA Administrator. To anyone who's ever looked up to the streaks in the sky and asked, what the heck is going on? Or seen headlines about private actors and even governments looking to blot out the sun in the name of stopping global warming?
See, they're like, see the Bill Gates illusion? I thought it was clever. All right.
We've endeavored to answer all of your questions at the links on your screen. In fact, EPA shares many of the same concerns when it comes to potential threats to human health and the environment, especially from solar geoengineering activities. The enthusiasm for experiments that would pump pollutants into the high atmosphere has set off alarm bells here at the Trump EPA. Prior to now, EPA has never been this proactive to raise awareness about concerns with geoengineering and to stop this activity from being scaled up. This is what it looks like when government actually listens to the will of the people and doesn't try to squash it. You can always
It's almost as if we weren't alive for the past week. Let's keep
trust
going.
this administration and this EPA to take your concerns seriously. Answer
Super cereal, guys. Take a super cereal.
your questions honestly and carry out the will of voters with integrity.
Sure. I'm sure maybe we'll get a bajillion hearings on this and be like, okay, cool. Yup. They're making floods. They're fucking murdering children and fucking in Camp Mystic fucking rituals or whatever the fuck they're going. Which I will say, I'm not gonna lie, I was being really schizo thinking about this yesterday. I was like keep in mind, I don't know, this might be so next level schizo, but considering the players involved and especially the cult connections, I don't think it's that crazy. And the things I've looked into. Who was it? I think it was Sagar and Jetty that's been saying a lot that the big thing that you should take away from the Epstein stuff is what the announcement says, and the fact that it's so ridiculous is it's not really even an attempt to cover it up to us because we're like, what the fuck? If anything, it's the blatant aspect of it is a message to the other people out there, like, hey, this is the degree to which we will protect you. And then now, I know, I was listening to the interview, Ted Cruz's interview with Morgan the other day, Piers Morgan, and he was talking about the whole thing. For one, this is as jaded as a perspective as this is. It's true. Crises like these are amazing for politicians. Obviously Ted Cruz, and even if you were a decent person, you'd understand hey, this is would make sense for me to some extent, especially if you have good things you want to do. You'd be like, well, now it makes sense, and it is also if there's a tragedy, you kind of do have to talk about it. But point being, PR wise, fucking sick. Also on top of that, listening on Piers Morgan, it's just kind of the things where you're like, that's a lot of coincidences I'm hearing. Apparently, I think he had said he had just picked up his daughter from there the week prior or something, and you're like, so Ted Cruz had also sent his kid there, and there are also other weird connections. So I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know. Maybe it's just sometimes coincidences do happen, and you're like, but I can't help but notice that wow, a camp called Camp Mystic, which is a fucking summer camp, I believe, for essentially rich kids. And these were, I believe, what was it? The children, I think, were, from my hearings, I think the ones who died were mostly around the 7 age group, which I don't know. Not to do all numerology or whatever the fuck, but I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of patterns, and I don't like it, and it's a little bit weird, and I'm like, oh my God, does it really go that deep, or am I being schizophrenic? Because it's like, oh, okay, well, fucking Tucker just destroyed one of our guys, and really needs to make sure he's cool. And okay, well, why don't we just murder a few children in a ritual? And I don't know, we can abduct a couple on the way, and maybe save them on a Slurp-On later or whatever. But I know I'm not gonna lie, I got a little schizo freaking out about that one because you're like, this seems all too fucking coincidental. This is a guy who's essentially just got his credibility murdered a week ago, and then now here he is with one of the best stories for him ever, and with an insane amount of coincidences. And also at the same time when they're proudly announcing essentially that, hey, they're not really announcing, but they're announcing it without announcing it. We just played that clip that was the APA guy saying, oh, well, we're gonna give you hearings about, fucking, we've messed with floods or chemtrails or this in the past. And at the same time, we have this Rainmaker CEO that we've talked about. Let's hear what he has to say. Let's go play it.
And again, I truly am heartbroken about what has happened, but want to make it abundantly clear that cloud seeding was not involved in any capacity.
Keep in mind, when we covered this on Austin, I almost said Austin show like a weirdo, on Already Dead, we covered this and we looked at literally even at the map and the county, because the argument here is they're in a different one, and obviously there's some scientific whatever mumbo jumbo, I don't fucking know, but you're literally trying to make fucking rain, and he was in the adjacent fucking county. They literally bordered each other, and he was in there, his project was working in that adjacent county. and I believe it was 2 weeks prior or something like that, or might have been 2 days. I forget the exact time frame. But either way, fairly short period of time before, and also very close. And I mean, I don't know. Obviously, it could be complete bullshit. I mean, we're in pattern recognition territory pretty big time here. But I mean, this is one of Peter Thiel's little butt buddies. As I joked before, I don't even think Peter Thiel even probably bothered to ask what he does. He just says, "Sold. I want that butthole." Let's be real. He's a pretty cute little feller. If I was about that way, let's be real. I mean, look at that. That's a sick fucking mullet, dude. That is a sick mullet. So anyways, I'm going to stop admiring him to be like what a perfect little twink he is for the elite, for the gay elites. But I don't know. I'm seeing lots of connections. I don't like it. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird shit. So I don't know what you guys think if this guy did it or not, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seems to me like if you're being schizophrenic, especially in the following the Epstein stuff, it seems like everything all at once is kind of like, okay, we're just going fuck you, 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 like all at once. Like, and I'm not even like a MAGA guy particularly, so, but it's like I'm seeing, one after another. Okay, cool. About that COVID stuff. Who gives a fuck about that? Yeah, whatever. We'll let your kids get poked up. Oh, yeah, we're going to send some money to Ukraine. Yeah, we're going to do this. Yeah. Okay, and then you're left with, which I think we probably may get to the end of this show, perhaps. And what you're left with is maybe, sort of, kind of immigration, kind of. I don't know, sort of, maybe. It's like, okay, at best, even if you did get that. Okay. All right, these fucking... I don't know, how much is that worth? I don't know. I guess maybe to some people, everything. To me, that's a little retarded. So, I don't know. We'll get into some more Epstein stuff in a minute. The gift that keeps on giving, unfortunately. But let's roll through the chat. See what you guys got to say. Oh, good point, PJR. Sorry, what happened to the aliens? Exactly. It's like, that was kind of something, I almost brought that up when I was thinking about it, because it's like, yeah, it's like it feels just like the alien shit. Like, oh, we're going to do some fucking... Ooh, we're going to do some hearings, and this will be super important. So, anything to do with Superman's pretty gay, says Nevsky. Trump and his Fortress of Silly Jews. Iron Dome of Solitude. Nice. Malgera, yeah, it's like Biden. They'd start talking about UFOs or whatever while they're doing fucked up shit. It's a distraction. Yup. Did you guys see the demonic mullet dude during the Rumble Grifter podcast tour trying to make weather modifications sound good? Yeah, which is a point I guess I should have brought up there. He's denying that his technology has anything to do with it, but then he goes on about how this technology can be dangerous and it needs to be regulated and this and that, and not anybody should be able to do it as he's fucking doing it. And then also like what else? And then also then makes multiple references about and how the government has done these CD operations and stuff that's point being is he's just saying it all. He's like, if you're a schizophrenic and you're listening to this, you're like, dude, you are just basically telling me without telling me. So. Surreal, yeah. It's demoralization. Sam Tripoli is right when he says that, yeah. So I don't think cloud seeding is inherently evil. Is watering your yard evil? No, I don't think it's inherently evil, but like, I don't know, it's sketchy, and the idea, which is actually kind of to my point, the idea that like, oh, we need to regulate this stuff. I actually am kind of the opposite. Like, I would want this not regulated. It's just, but if we were able to show you are doing some sort of intentional harm or something, but the idea being that, then now, once again, this becomes something only the crazy elites can use. Because I don't know the science here, but who knows? Maybe if this just becomes a technology anyone can access, then I don't know. This is specific. Maybe it's one of these things where then it mitigates any sort of ability to these sorts of things where possibly you're creating awful massive. Maybe on an individual level or small companies or whatever, they're able to then go, oh, well, here's bad weather, and then they can mitigate it with their weather technology. I don't fucking know. I don't know the ins and outs of this. My point being is clearly we have this guy coming out saying, oh, the government does evil shit and has done evil shit, and then and people shouldn't be able to just willy-nilly do this. While this guy has Thiel connections, he's funded by Thiel, who is the fucking government. I'm so tired of this, like literally I've brought up multiple times now that like multiple AI, OpenAI, Palantir, like the high up execs have been appointed to be lieutenant colonels in the military. They are the government. So like the point being is if we're trying to essentially monopolize the system of whatever this new technology is to the only people who can have it are the ones that we're literally sitting here going, I don't know if they just murdered fucking dozens of children. Obviously, they may not have, but it's like the idea that we even have this question. It's like, well, I don't know. I think maybe if we all had access to this technology, it very well might be able to mitigate this. So as opposed to the opposite. This little Peter Thiel butt boy is seeming to try to push what is a perfect fucking layup for that next narrative move. So, there's definitely people who do evil with cloud seeding, but I think it'd be, yeah, exactly. I do think it'd be used for good. And that's kind of my point. It's like, I don't want, this does seem like if I was the government and I wanted to seed out to the world that like reveal that it's happening, I mean, especially this 1-2 punch of these two things that are going on, that's kind of how I do it. And then also then you can push like, oh, well, we got to regulate this industry. This is super dangerous. Like, yeah, I do believe it's dangerous, and that's exactly why we shouldn't regulate it, because I don't want you to have the exclusive rights to be able to use this. So, yeah, we used cloud seeding in Vietnam. Was it Operation Popeye? Yeah. Hey, bro, is just kissing your wife gay? Super gay, dude. Nice to see you, Alano. I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, Rainmaker guy said he had seeding tech that could stay up in the air for up to 2 weeks. Oh, wow. It's like he's saying it without saying it. And once again, I don't know. Fucking hell, he looks like an Oblivion character. Someone says, if the tech stays in the air for the week and they accurately predict the storm that ends, the drought. Okay. From what I've heard from this guy, he seems pretty genuine and honest. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't paid attention. Who knows? Maybe he's genuine and honest. I'm literally going off pattern recognition here. And I've also noticed my buddy Shane Cashman has just been railing on this guy. It's been fun to watch. But yeah, it is. I'll be completely honest here, like intellectual honesty. He could genuinely just be a kid who has, highfalutin ideas, and he wants to help the world or whatever, and this is the way he wants to do it, and he thinks this is the right path. He may not be someone being put on a path by, other characters and be essentially a glowy of some sort. But, I do think he's still making the wrong push here. The idea that it seems to be, whether he means to or not, he's narratively speaking, kind of perfectly falling into what, comes next. And like, oh, we have to regulate this, only this, that, this. I don't know. I can just see how this goes. It seems like perfect disclosure, whether they intended it or not. And then, once again, dude, literally, this is a Thiel project. So, yeah. Their heavy metals don't go anywhere, says Jesus Hendricks. Austin's fire chief refused to send rescue, says Snevsky. All right, oops. Sorry. Mullet doesn't fit the face. I don't know. I think it looks pretty cool. Someone says mullet guy is definitely obfuscating. You're permanently altering the planet's climate, they're saying. I don't know. Can't cause flooding unto itself, he said. So there was a joint headfirst, he was saying. I don't know. They want us to think the white Christian man is the evil one, though, said Nevsky. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'd go that far with this specific story. I think in a larger meta sense, I'd say you're probably generally kind of correct. But, like, individually, I don't know. I don't know if that made it to the doc, or, like, if they're like, all right, guys, we're making a casting call for evil. He's got to be white. He's got to be white. And then I don't know why there's notes here, but he's got to be really, really cute with a tight butthole. Wait, did Thiel write this? Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's what they did. I mean, that seems a little bit out there, but maybe. I mean, generally speaking, that is like one of the ones they do push for. But I don't know. I don't know if they decided to make this guy a white guy for this. They're like, he's got to be a white guy to be a scapegoat. I don't know. Maybe. All right. All right, you guys talking about storms. And Snapsky said, when everybody's freaking out about something, my initial belief is that it's all BS. And actually, I kind of agree with you. I have I haven't really. I mean, I've covered it a little bit on this show, but I don't feel like I feel like I've tried to be fair, and that it's possible this is all bullshit and this is all just pattern recognition. But it's hard not to notice in light of everything else. So, like, why are you telling us about this stuff that? Let's be real. We knew you had this for a while anyway. So it just makes me schizo out. So Florida passed laws to stop cloud seeding altogether. Well, I don't know. I mean, that sounds to me like de facto what I was describing. That, we're not allowed, we can't do it all together. Okay, bullshit. I bet you the government will still do it. So, all right, let me see. You guys hear about Grok getting bigger than Hitler? Sure did. We covered that a bunch. Let me see. All right, Thiel about to taste the small heat, says knife safety. All right, let's get into this next story. This is from Ken Silva. It says a U.S. senator referred an Epstein client to DOJ. You'll never guess what happened next. Which he did ask online. He's like, "Got a corny title." I'll be honest with you, Ken. It is the last second half is a little bit corny, but after skimming through this article, I kind of get the predicament you were put in. What do you say? It is obvious. I get where you were getting at, and you guys will in a second. So Ron Wyden, Democrat in Oregon, reportedly said this week that he provided the Justice Department with actionable information about Jeffrey Epstein's relationship with a prominent billionaire and an untold number of Wall Street banks, but the DOJ hasn't been doing anything with the info. I've handed the Trump administration a ready-made Epstein case involving a billionaire financier and Wall Street banks, and they've done nothing with it, he told All Rise News. I know for a fact the Trump administration is sitting on an Epstein file that contains new actionable info, Wyden reportedly added, so I don't blame anybody for asking what's going on. Here's Ken saying Wyden is almost certainly referring to Leon Black. The senator has been investigating him for years, and you can see Wyden, and he has a document here highlighted. Wyden revealed the ongoing investigation Tuesday when he released an open letter to former Apollo Global CEO. Apollo, all right, I see you. And billionaire Leon Black, who paid Epstein $158 million between 2012 and 2017 for his advice in several tax and estate planning matters. Black has also been in the headlines in recent days for other Epstein-related matters, with someone suing him Tuesday for allegedly raping an autistic teenager at Epstein's townhouse. Holy fucking shit. I didn't know about that one. All right. Let's keep going. Wyden could be talking about former Apollo Global CEO and billionaire Epstein client Leon Black, whom the senator investigated for years. Black paid Epstein $158 million between 2012 and 2017 for his advice on several tax and estate planning matters. 2023, Wyden wrote an open letter to Black suggesting that he may have engaged in tax evasion with Epstein. As you are aware, the committee is investigating the $158 million in payments you made to Epstein for services related to a variety of tax and estate planning matters, Wyden told Black in the letter. In particular, the committee seeks information on Epstein's participation in structuring trusts and other complex transactions designed to avoid federal gift and estate taxes on as much as $2 billion in wealth transferred to your children. Wyden revealed that his investigation has been going on since June 2022. Thus far, the investigation has found that Epstein helped Black avoid more than $1 billion in federal taxes, Wyden said. Which, for those who aren't aware, it's pretty clear that Epstein, especially early on, was engaged in money laundering. Is clearly what we're looking at here. Let's be real. So, and then from there, it seems like he graduated to the trafficking, and I don't know if he was doing both at that time or what, but anyways, the senator also revealed the IRS has not audited any of Black's trusts or transactions that are subject to the congressional probe. It's unclear whether Black even responded or ever responded to the senator. According to Wyden's 2023 letter, Black had not been cooperative in the probe. You have refused to answer questions or provide documents related to payments you made to Epstein or substantiate how such payments were calculated or were compensation for services, the senator said at the time. Your failure to substantiate Epstein's compensation scheme has heightened the committee's concerns about whether such payments were poorly characterized as incomes or gifts for tax purposes. Wyden asked Black to provide him with information on a number of Epstein-Apollo-related topics. Wyden seeks, among other things, a copy of a written service agreement between Epstein and Black, as well as information about Epstein's financial advice related to Black's private art collection, which is worth over $1 billion. And then also, that guy's a Democrat, obviously, so I guess that kind of feeds into the next story, sort of, but obviously this is him not, acting on stuff. This is also kind of goes more into the background of Epstein and the kind of characters he's interacting with. I think the JP Morgan thing, when you look into the suits there, it was very similar thing as well, because a lot of that was clearly trafficking occurring, and a lot of those, the money, I forget what exactly, court things they went through, but what was it, $250 million I think they had to pay or something? And I think that is a lot of that tied into clearly what was tax evasion / laundering. So, yeah. I mean, tax evading money that likely came from illicit means, probably. Let's be real. So, but with that, though, here's the next story. And this kind of, like I said, feeds into the next. Seems the Democrats have joined into the fun here. There's a copy of this and another video after this, too. More than one. They're really good. Here's Jake Tapper. Here's Clandestine. Nevsky shared this to us. He wanted me to cover this a couple days ago. And here's Clandestine. He says, and just like that, the Dems / mainstream media are now clamoring for the Epstein files. We couldn't get the Dems / mainstream media to talk about Epstein for 15 plus years. Now they're claiming Trump is the only one covering it up, which, let me see. This guy's has me blocked, by the way. I don't know why. I don't think I've ever interacted with this guy. But no, judging by his take, I think I get why. Which, I haven't finished the take yet. I think there might be more going on here that meets the eye. There are elements of the situation that we as a public don't understand. Perhaps a trap is being laid. But one thing is for certain, the Dems/mainstream media are capitalizing this moment in an attempt to divide Trump's base, and it's working. They have identified a rift in Trump support and amplifying it. Yeah, they are. As well they should. So, I don't know, a trap being laid. I mean, I don't know. I think... I don't know if this is what maybe you were getting at, Nevsky, when you shared it, but I also kind of read into maybe other people are reading to this, whether you were or not. But I think the idea is like, oh, well, like, because the Democrats are going over after it, then like, okay, well, then now that means, well, then like, I don't know, something else is going on or something. And which, I don't know, the easiest explanation here is that, because the people point to, they go, oh, well, why didn't, there's no way Trump's involved in any blackmail or there's no way they have anything on him or whatever, which I don't know. I'm open to the idea they don't. I mean, who knows? Maybe they just have a fucking sniper trained on one of his family or something. But, the idea that like, oh, well, because the Democrats, the tired thing goes, well, the Democrats didn't do anything about it. So while they were in, they could have. No one ever, really pushed that. Why didn't they? So maybe clearly there's nothing to it, or clearly Trump's not good. If there was something for Trump, they would have gone for it. And it's like, I don't think that's really entirely the case. There are certain things that bring both sides to heel, particularly Israel. Also, if it's just generally speaking, if we're talking about trafficking networks, it's like, let's be real. If you're someone who's aware your people are involved as well, and I'm not saying that the people we're about to cover right now, like Jake Tapper, were doing anything with Epstein or anything like that. But I think these people also just knew, like you can usually read the tea leaves, or even if it's just pure tribalism, that like, hey, this is, you're worried that this could affect your team as well. So it doesn't necessarily have to mean they're in it or whatever, but I think there's some sort of level of like, oh shit, this is something we don't really dig into. It's kind of the idea of like, certain topics like war, like it's bipartisan, and I think Epstein is as well. So, I mean, the idea, but I think we've put ourselves in Trump has put himself in a unique situation where it's very clear to damn near anyone with, I don't know, generally speaking, most reasonable people, I think, would, have come to the conclusion that like, oh, he is between a rock and a hard place and he can't do a goddamn thing. And it seems pretty obvious to me. And it seems that these people are getting this message as well. That's how I'm reading it. And it seems pretty obvious that, they can see that Trump has put himself in a position where he is essentially helpless. And they have the greatest of dunks. And so now essentially, and this is what he did to himself, he's essentially created a fucking like him standing there in shackles right under the hoop. And then, they set up even the little jumpy little thing in front of it. And then we're doing like the NBA dunk contest. Just like right over him. Like, and you know what? That's what you get. I'm sorry. You cover for child trafficking. That's what you get. And you know what? Good. Fuck them. Like, and it's like, you know what? You want to fix that? I don't know. Okay. There's many ways to go about that. I don't know. Let's go back to that old thing. I don't know. I mean, actually, I don't know. The more I think about like that one statement he made is pretty, I guess you could walk that back or be like, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess he would never explain his actions. He would just say the opposite. And then we would just go, whatever. Which I think most people would even accept that. If there was some, as I said before, if there was anything close to it, like would actually appeal, like a genuine attempt at a cover up without like a slap in our face, I think most people would have just, especially the MAGAs, would have just kind of let it slide. So I know everyone's acting like, oh, well, damn if they do, damn if they don't. No, I disagree. MAGA would not have abandoned him like this if they had just gone through any of the old tried and true fucking cover up tactics. I mean, obviously there'd be people like me out there to be like, what the fuck? This is bullshit. But you give me nothing. He doesn't give me much to work with, and you give a huge arsenal of cope for the trust the planners when you do that. When you actually give some sort of an attempt for a cover up, like an actual reasonable attempt at a cover up, then you give your base the ability to have some sort of cope, some sort of logic with which to defend you. There's nothing reasonable to defend him with. I'm sorry. Every time I've heard people try to defend him, it's just sad. Just sad. I don't know. And on that, here's to drive this point even more. Here's Dersh, and I put LOL LMAO even in response to this with a Mel Gibson laughing pick, because here's Alan Dershowitz, a former lawyer for Epstein, saying he's personally seen the names of the perpetrators and knows those names are being purposely suppressed to protect several powerful individuals. So here's this. Although I think if I remember correctly, this might have been from an older one, but either way, I don't know. It might not be. I can't remember.
I know for a fact documents are being suppressed. and they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them, but I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge and cases, and I can't disclose what I know. But I hand to God, I know the names of people whose files are being suppressed in order to protect them, and that's wrong.
Just out of curiosity, without names, are these politicians, business leaders, both?
They're everything. I know for a fact documents are being suppressed, and they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them, but I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge. And
did I zone out and actually play that once over? I just realized I was reading one of your chats and I realized I think I accidentally played it over.
Cases.
I'll play it over again.
I can't disclose what I know, but I hand to God, I know the names of people whose files are being suppressed in order to protect them, and that's wrong.
Just out of curiosity, without names,
the audio's
are
off
these
on this.
politicians, business leaders, both?
They're everything.
Okay, so here's Dersh. Okay, Dersh. Thanks, pal. All right, let's get into the next story. Actually, let's roll in chat. I haven't checked in with you guys in a minute. Actually, I did roll through chat while the video was playing. Now that I actually mentioned it, I see. Yeah, here's Malgera saying that the Epstein shit is potentially is politically mutual assured destruction because both sides are on the list unquestionably. And so by essentially, yeah, exactly. That's my point. So like, but the problem is Trump tipped his hand. So it's like now you're in this position where yeah, it is politically mutually assured destruction, but it's like, okay, but now you put yourself in a position where the other side can just dunk and make allusions to it because you've already said there's nothing there. And you're like, well, why is there nothing there? And so you just fucking, you did it to yourself. All right, let's get into this next story. This is from, Dana Duda. That we mentioned earlier, which by the way, actually, I think in 5 minutes, my episode is getting ready to drop with her. I'll probably go about another 20 minutes on this. So I don't know, whatever. You guys can go back and pop over there. It's a premiere, so you can just watch it from the beginning or leave me, whatever. But yeah, I had her on a couple weeks ago to talk about the process and some stuff like that. So really interesting conversation. Go check that out. Like I said, dropping, I think I'm premiering in like 5 minutes. So obviously if you're listening to this on audio, it's already out. Go check it out. Also, I do want to let you guys know, for those who aren't aware, I do, the way I drop stuff is I usually do the premiere on YouTube at like around noonish, 1ish, 2ish, but then I'll put it out everywhere else at like super early, like 5 in the morning. So my point being is I'm trying to incentivize other platforms. So go, there you go. Go use other platforms, or you can wait for YouTube. That's your choice. But anyways, here's Dana, and she has this long thread about Paul Krasner and Operation Paperclip, which I don't think we're going to go into today, but maybe going tomorrow to kind of, or not tomorrow, but maybe like next week to kind of fill out the rest of the story. But I thought it was particularly interesting that she put this. I'm trying to find a good answer as to why 3 individuals closely tied to the Manson case, Dennis Hopper, Jack Nicholson, and Paul Krasner, were members of the Reality Club, the original iteration of the Edge Foundation, funded by Jeffrey Epstein, of which Krasner never left. And obviously, I mentioned Krasner. Now, this guy is the... Actually, I'll be honest, I don't know a ton about him. He's probably... I think I've heard his name a lot, but I always forget who he is. So, I don't know. This is not my area of expertise. This is much more Dana's. So, maybe one of you guys in chat would be like, who that guy is. But either way, obviously, you can tell by the connections what the fuck. And we'll get into probably next week. I would like to cover this thread and go into it, because this is where you get into a deep thread that goes into the connections between this guy and kind of intel and such. And so essentially this is kind of making the connections between literally the celebrity class, like the Jack Nicholsons at the time, the fucking Laurel Canyon type stuff, to Manson, to Scientology, to the process, to, I mean, hell, we're even at Jeffrey Epstein here. And then even then, on top of that, you have this weird club that these guys are in. And so, man, this looks like some glowy shit, right? Isn't it weird how small this world is and how everything interconnects? It makes you lose your fucking mind, doesn't it? So here is the club. Here's the Reality Club, an extraordinary club. Since 1981, the Reality Club has held meetings each month in New York. The speakers are challenged to represent an idea of reality by describing their creative work and discussing those questions they are asking themselves. Speakers have numbered over 100, include some of the most eminent artists, scientists, writers, and scholars in the world. The Reality Club dates back to the 60s, when its founder, John Brockman, assembled friends, many of whom were avant-garde contributors to our culture, for informal discussions. Isn't avant-garde? I always hear that when used. Isn't that like supposed to be like You know what? I'm just going to Google it real quick. That's one of the words I hear all the time. Oh, never mind. It won't let me copy paste. I'm pretty sure avant-garde isn't that like a... It's kind of more like a... I'm trying to think of the word. They use it when it's like a saucy or... It's a gay word to use, but like a... I don't know, like a... Slutty might not be exactly what I'm trying to say. Something more raucous, more degenerate maybe, but not quite. But then like an artsy way, I think is... anyways, so I was like, what does that mean by that? So I don't know. Maybe I'm just retarded and I'm forgetting what avant-garde means. So participants thrived on the opportunity to discuss ideas in a rigorous manner. 1981, Brockman formalized the club to the point of calling it the Reality Club. The name was a pun. The club's goal was to pose a challenge to the contemporary ideas of reality. The years since the founding, the Reality Club has become New York's most vibrant intellectual salon. So now it's about to become a biannual publication. Link's books will release The Reality Club 1 this December. Then Brockman says the Reality Club is not just a group of people. I see it as a constant shifting of metaphors, the advancement of ideas, an agreement on and the invention of reality. That last bit's a little bit creepy. The agreement on the invention of reality. Intellectual life is the okay, I'm not gonna lie. Those last two sentences fucking kind of made me reel a little bit. Actually, even the first one in context. Now that you add the two second sentences, that first sentence is even more creepy. I'm gonna read that again just to make it sink in again. The Reality Club is not just a group of people. I see it as a constant shifting of metaphors, the advancement of ideas, the agreement on and the invention of reality. Intellectual life is the Reality Club. So I just told you the connections of these guys, which I guess we'll make even more obvious here soon in I don't know, sometime next week probably. But yeah, that's a little creepy, a little creepy. I don't know about you guys. What else do we have here? All right, and then here's some people involved. You have Abby Hoffman, political activist, author of soon to be a major motion picture. Dennis Hopper, actor and director. Al Chuang Liang Huang, man, that's a fun name. Tai Chi master and author of Embrace Tiger, Return to Mountain. Edwin Clark Johnson, philosopher and author of The Myth of the Great Secret. Healer and author of Joy's Way, Brew Joy. Isabel Kirkland, artist. Paul Krasner, satirist and editor of The Realist. Okay, so that's who that guy is. And then Lawrence Leishan, research psychologist and authors of Einstein, Space, and Van Gogh Sky. And then John C. Lilly. Ooh, that name's... Oh, that's the guy who was fucking dolphins, right? Oh, shit. That guy's in here? Is that what avant-garde means? Oh, avant-garde, like fucking dolphins. I'm pretty sure that's the fucking dolphin guy. I'm almost certain. Someone please tell me I'm right. I swear that's the dolphins guy. Because he's literally then of Lily on Dolphins. And he's a scientist and he's an author. All right. What a fun group of people. Catherine Millionaire, writer, author of Celebrations. Stephanie Mills, co-editor of the Coevolution Quarterly. Mark Mirsky, novelist and editor of fiction. Richard Morris, poet and author of The Fate of the Universe. Jack Nicholson, actor and director. And Elaine Pagels, religious historian, author of The Gnostic Gospels. Okay, that raised my eyes a little bit too. Gnosticism is always something that comes up here. So yeah, a little bit creepy. All right. Debating. What do I want to do here? I did not manage my time well. Here's some debating what stories I want to finish off with. So sorry for some of you guys. Some of your submissions are getting ignored right now. I think I might just end off with a little discussion on immigration, because this is something that Nevsky wanted me to get into. I have a few tabs he sent over, so we'll get into the second after we roll through the chat. Can we do a deep dive on how to identify what the skies look like when they have been seeded? Yeah. What you do is, like, the way you do it is you just go outside, you look up, and you go, all right, you look around, you go, there's a cloud, motherfucker's been seeded. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, I don't fucking know. I don't really know. I doubt I'm ever going to do a weather deep dive. Not really my thing. It may be more of like an Austin thing, particularly. Is it more experimental? Like, there's avant-garde music and art. Okay, yeah, experimental. That might be more. But even then, that kind of is the same. That is still a creepy. My point was something about that word. I couldn't remember the exact meaning of it, but like, I didn't like the way it was being used there. I'm like, that's creepy. So experimental, that's just as much. So yeah. when it's just porn, but they make it seem highbrow. Exactly. That's kind of what I was trying to say. Like rootless redneck. I'm pretty sure that means. Yeah. The modern pioneers of whatever modernism shit is that you want to eat, says PJR. So, yep. Hello, everyone. Hello from IB Denmark. Hell yeah, brother. Avant-garde. Okay. All right. End with a Will Stancil news story. Yeah, I think I might just do that as the outro. Although I have like a couple good outros right now, so I might just save the other good outro for later. Maybe just end with a Will Stancil outro because I know for those who were here on my AI Grok Mecha Hitler coverage a day or two ago or whatever. I think it was a couple days ago. Well, the Will Stancil thing has come full circle, and now he went on the news, and there's an amazing segment. So stick around for the outro. I think I'll play that for the outro today. I legitimately about damn near fucking cried laughing so hard watching it. It's one of the greatest things ever. So we'll go into that in a little bit. But yeah, let's like I said, for old boy Nevsky's sake, let's go through some of the tabs he sent over to kind of. He's trying to make the point of like, okay, we are seeing, I guess, stuff in immigration side of things. Like I said, as I always say, you know, you should never really ever look at me as the expert. I mean, there's some things I'm more knowledgeable on than others, and like you could take it with less of a grain of salt than other things. But like, at my core, I'm a fucking retard. So like, double check my shit. Like, and really, you should do that for anyone. You should assume everyone's a retard and double check their shit. So. Or at least just not like just take it just on them saying it. But anyways, just wanted to throw that out there. So I'm not like when it comes to whether they're actually doing, and when you get into numbers, and I know you can lie with statistics. I don't know. Whatever. I'm open to the idea that they're crushing it in immigration. And if anything, my point in the larger meta point is like, I mean, even if they were crushing, it's kind of like compared to everything else. I don't know. Whatever. All right, let's go through this. Here's one from Stephen Miller that says, what if this entire time the key to fixing our cities was enforcing our immigration laws? Stephen Miller being the deputy chief of staff to the White House, this fucking ghoul. And so here is a video that he sent or was quote tweeting of some guy, I guess, driving on the highway. He says, how many illegals are really in LA, California? He says, this is a 101 freeway, one of the busiest freeways in LA. This is just outside of LA, heading into LA at 8 a.m. on a workday. If you've been to LA, you know how insane this is. Illegals are hiding from ICE.
I don't know if anybody's familiar with Los Angeles, but I'm actually on the 110, literally about 5 miles from downtown. Where the fuck are the cars? I almost felt like it was a Sunday. Where the hell? Holy shit. Look at this. You know what, Trump? It's working, brother. Please keep working. Work harder this time. I mean, I know you've been working pretty damn hard, and we love you for it, by the way. But good God, there's no more traffic in Los Angeles. Yay!
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't live in LA, so I mean, this would be something that maybe if I recall, you know, if it comes up and already dead, we could ask Austin because he does live in LA. He lives like right near LA. He goes through LA a lot, so I mean, he'd be a better judge of. I mean, I went over, obviously I was in LA when I went over to go, stayed with Austin when we did our appearance on Jake Shields. So, I mean, I've been with him driving around in there. So, I do remember the traffic is fucking god-awful around there. Although there were parts where it was and wasn't. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess to some degree, I'll take their word for it. I don't know. I mean, sure. Okay. I mean, this actually does genuinely seem convincing that this is something's going on that, reduces that traffic. Or whatever. And on that, here's more. Here's New York Post opinion. It says nearly 1 million illegal immigrants have self-deported under Trump, which has led to higher wages. So let's read through this and see if maybe, I don't know, they'll enlighten us. Maybe we'll come to a little bit like, okay, maybe there is something. I mean, hey, whatever. I'm open to the idea that like something's going right. I mean, I think it'd be almost kind of ridiculous if they weren't doing anything right. Like, Jesus Christ. Like all you're capable of doing is fucking us. And even then I say right, like by right, I mean, like, I guess compared to what his base wants. Because I don't even know if this is necessarily what I want. I'm kind of ambivalent or apathetic or, I don't know, undecided, I guess you could say. I can understand both arguments when it comes to immigration, as we've talked about before. So I'm not saying from my perspective, I'm just generally for like what MAGA wanted generally. It's like, okay, well, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's good you're delivering on something, maybe. So let's go ahead and play this. It says not play it. Let's watch this. Not watch. I'm fucking up my words. Let's read this. There you go. While ICE arrests and deportations have grabbed headlines, Trump is also running a separate but complementary mass deportation program, one that encourages aliens here unlawfully to go home voluntarily. Okay. And if reports are correct, the plan is more successful than anyone could have imagined. Okay. Based on government data, my organization, the Center for Immigration Studies, has conservatively estimated there are about 15.4 million illegal aliens in the U.S., a 50% increase over the 4 tumultuous years of the Biden administration. That's no surprise, given how Biden's DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas ignored congressional detention mandates and has ushered millions of illegal immigrants into the United States. Which, to be fair, I'm not a fan of that. I mean, I do kind of have like a knee jerk where I do kind of instinctually don't like a lot of the empowering of the government and for the immigration controls. But on the flip side, I want to be very clear. I also don't like the flip side of that, of the government being like, well, now we're going to subsidize, moving immigrants here. You're like, okay, well, like those both seem like bad. Those both seem like artificial, whatever. Those seem like not going to go well. So it's like, that's kind of my perspective on it. I mean, I understand the arguments of why people should be, deported, this, that, whatever. I mean, I'm hop-a-pilled, trust me, I know. But I don't know. I still kind of hesitant, especially, I've addressed why, the Palantir connections, this, that, and how often it seems to be this used to fuck us. But let's keep going. Trump wrote a wave of concerns about the costs those immigrants are opposing in schools, hospitals, housing, and essential government services in cities and towns across the U.S. to a second term. Now that he's back in the Oval Office, it's up to him, border czar Tom Homan, and DHS Secretary Kristi Noem to drive the unauthorized population down and restore credibility to our immigration system. They've implemented a 2-track plan to tackle this onerous task. One of those tasks relies on arrest and deportations of aliens unlawfully here, which at the outset was mainly focused on criminals. The worst first strategy. The other track is more settled, but also cheaper for taxpayers and arguably more effective, encouraging illegal migrants here to self-deport. Began with Inauguration Day Trump directive requiring DHS to ensure all aliens present in the U.S., legal and otherwise, have registered with the federal government and to prosecute those who don't comply. By late February, Noem had implemented that registration program. DHS next launched a multi-million-dollar ad campaign warning migrants not to enter illegally or alternatively to leave voluntarily now and possibly have an opportunity to return, enjoy our freedom, and live the American dream. Noem also rebranded the notorious CBP One app, while the Biden administration used to funnel hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants into our country as CBP Home, which aliens can use to notify the U.S. government of their intent to depart. The rebranding coincided with an offer of financial incentives for aliens who leave voluntarily, a stipend of $1,000. That's in lieu of costly physical deportation, which can cost taxpayers $17,100 per person on average. This is how effective has self-deportation been, which I gotta say I do like the idea of, like, I guess this is preferable. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I have to think on it more to get an exact. But obviously it's preferable. If the option is, hey, we give them incentives to leave, or ultimately we're probably going to have to spend roughly a little bit short of $20K in order to deal with them. Yeah, it makes more sense to be like, hey, why don't you? I'll give you a K if you fucking get the fuck out of here. So okay, I didn't realize they were giving money. That's good. I guess. I don't know. I mean, once again, they're stealing money from us to give it to them, so it's still not great, but I don't know, preferable, I guess. How effective has self-deportation been? One way to track the program is by checking employment numbers. One financial whiz cited by the Wall Street Journal calculated a decline in the immigration population of 773,000 in the first 4 months of Trump. The Washington Post claims 1 million foreign-born workers have exited the workforce since March. The Post reframes as a sign of the weakening labor supply. The paper also notes average hourly wages accelerated, rising by 0.4% over the month to $36.24 in May as earnings continue to beat inflation and a boost to workers' spending power. Which I would say, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would need to bring on like an economics guy to read too much into that. Because I mean, even either way, really, whether you're saying, oh, we did these immigration things and now we have higher or lower X, Y, and Z or whatever. There's so many other things that go into a fucking market that is kind of, I don't know. I don't really know how you would really be able to directly attribute either way. I mean, I know, especially when they're able to enforce all sorts of artificial measures to mess with it here and there. So, and sometimes it's just artificial what you're seeing. Like, you're like, oh, cool. Like, gas is down 20 cents. And then little do you know, they've done some fucking shenanigans somewhere to mess with it because they don't want you to see the higher gas prices right now because that would be, politically not expedient. And so they're holding it off, and you're going to have really shitty fucking gas prices in a month when they're not able to hold it off anymore or something like that. In other words, with fewer illegal immigrants, businesses have had to raise wages to attract workers. But aliens will only leave if they believe Trump and Homan are serious about arrests. Employers know the feds are targeting shady businesses. Since the voluntary exodus shouldn't be surprising, when President Dwight Eisenhower launched his deportation roundup in 1954, nearly 10 aliens left voluntarily for each one arrested. A post 9/11 registration program also drove self-deportations. DHS can't arrest and deport 15.4 million illegal aliens, but if it simply enforces the law, many aliens will get the message and leave on their own, as hundreds of thousands apparently already have. So I will give, a little bit of that. Okay, that would seem like a smart idea on his part. But at the same time, I don't know. It feeds into this sort of gay shit. Like where posts are here, like, thanks to Trump, ICE has now begun finding the children the Biden administration lost. Many have been working forced labor in Newsom State. The child trafficking is off the scale. God's children are not for sale. Like, come on. Like, seriously? Like, I don't know. Because it's like, even if I give, I feel like I've had some pushback. Like, I feel like I get a little like, something, this, that. And you're like, what? Like, maybe immigration? I don't know. This is just, and it just seems, once again, I don't know. That did seem believable. And I'll grant that, like, hey, the self-deportation, all right, seems like a pretty smart fucking idea, really. But I don't know. It just, once again, I know how much they can lie with numbers. It's also like, even if true, it's like, okay. We still, I don't know. It's a bridge too far. And then also, I don't know, a little bit. Here's one I found last minute. He says, ICE made approximately 30,000 arrests in June, marking the highest monthly figure since 2020. Yet only 18,000 individuals were deported, according to data shared with NBC. Despite a high arrest rate, Trump's current deportation pace remains below Obama's, averaging around 14,700 per month. Now, I will say to my buddy Nevsky, and this whole point is that, like, hey, I'll give a little more credence now, and like, because one of the things I don't like, and I don't like it. I know a lot of people get off on this, and they're like, oh, they're being fucking assholes to immigrants, and it's like, I don't know. I don't really get off on people being like shitty to these people, like, or whatever. And I don't even necessarily like get off on them getting deported. I guess if you bring me like, this guy's legitimately MS-13s, killed people, I'm like, yeah, get him the fuck out, fuck him. But like, generally speaking, just some normal dude, some migrant worker or whatever, like, no, I don't think it's okay to terrorize these people. Like, they're still people all the same. You might be able to make some sort of fucking highfalutin fucking political theory argument about why you need to find a way to get them out of the country, but doesn't mean you need to be inhumane, and it just also doesn't mean you need to spend a fuckload of money. So, like, to the point, this is like this kind of goes to the idea of like his deportation. So this actually, I've heard this talking point going around that like, oh, the deportation's super low, and I would say in conjunction with the tab that Nevsky provided with us, that the article about the self-deportation, you put these two things together, and I actually think you could spin this to be a positive if you were a pro-Trump person. So as opposed to this like, oh, well, they're not fucking deporting enough people. So I don't know, if anything, you can kind of go to like, well, they're being less shitty. Because I'll be honest, I haven't liked a lot of the stuff I've seen where it seems like I think I saw some story I never looked into, I don't know the truth of it, where they supposedly were lying to immigrants and like there was one I saw recently said, oh, Somali people or something, like, oh, we're going to Louisiana, hop in, and then they dropped them off in Somalia or some shit. And you're like, dude, what the fuck? Like, can you imagine? Like, I don't know, like, whatever. It sounds like you already had him in custody, so why are you even lying to him? Just tell him where you're bringing him, or at least give him some time to prepare, or what? I don't know. Just I can't. It just seems like I've seen a lot of shitty behavior towards people, which, and like, once again, like, if this is an evil person, I don't care. But like, these are just people mostly, and most of them are moving for economic reasons or such. So, I don't know. There's different types of people. There's all different. I guess for me, too, as I've told you guys before, my perspective for this, I genuinely, I don't fucking care. I'll be honest. I just don't fucking care. I don't fucking care about immigration. I don't. It's never, I do and I don't. Like, I don't want the government to be importing these people. I don't want them to be also, I also would ideally prefer they don't be spending exorbitant amounts to export them either. But from my perspective, and like most of the interactions I've ever even seen of illegal immigrants are migrant workers. I've lived in the country my entire life, and I just don't have a problem with migrant workers, like, at all. I don't know. If anything, I find it kind of, I don't know, endearing to some extent. You're like, these are hard workers. They're usually very family oriented. I mean, there definitely is clearly some of them. There are like probably some bad apples from the family. There clearly seems like there might be some sort of seedy underbelly to these groups. But I don't know, generally speaking, the workers, but like, so it's like, yeah, if you find these guys are criminals and they're here illegally, like they're literally committing crime. And I get people like, well, they're technically committing a crime by being here. You know what I mean? A real fucking crime, a crime that I would go, yes, that is a crime. Not a, I don't know, like, I don't know, this is debatable, like this, but I don't know. So to Nevsky, yeah, something there. I don't know. Maybe there is something to on the immigration thing to give him the tiniest bit of something with, but it's just kind of my point. It's like, it's clearly not a resounding W, at least not to me yet, at least not evidently. And even if it is, in light of everything else, what the fuck? So, all right, guys, let's roll through the chat and then we'll get on out of here. All right. Someone says if you work out 3+ hours, why even use roids? The reason why is because one of the big things you get from roids is one of the misunderstandings when it gets from one of the biggest things you get from that is your capacity to put out more work, to be able to repair quicker. So even when I say 3+ hours, I don't even mean necessarily one time. Like you really should be doing like a lot of like 2-a-days and stuff, because like you have a heightened, like essentially is putting your body on like, hyperdrive to where it's like repairing so fucking quick. It's because essentially what you're doing when you work out, you're breaking down muscles, you're destroying them, and then your body, especially through hormonal responses and such, it goes, hey, we need more of this, and the hormones put that on overdrive, and so that's one of the biggest things is your body is repairing itself quicker. So essentially, you need to break it down more and more frequently. So that's why. So it's like you need to put more output. I mean, you can continue on your same routine and use like a roids or something, and you will get results, but you're not maximizing your results by any way, shape, or form, since one of the biggest perks you get from that is your recovery and your ability to put out more work. So like, why not get more out of it? And also on top of that, you cycle roids, because typically speaking, I mean, I'm speaking vaguely, and there's all sorts of different types, but generally speaking, you cycle them so as you don't destroy your fucking hormonal system and you give it time to recuperate. So yeah. So also point being is you usually have like maybe a month or 2 window to work out, and then you're gonna be off cycle. So you're trying to maximize your results during that period of time. So just giving you guys steroids advice. When I get deported, my hairless clats will be a real hit in Mexico. So Romulus says traffic is weird sometimes. Yeah. Nevsky says traffic in Houston's been down also. Grocery stores and Home Depot parking lots are now infested with brownoids. Yeah, and Andrew Jacobs says he's living an hour of LA and there's still terrible traffic here. So I don't know. Nevsky said they changed the CBP app 180 degrees also. Yeah, I saw something about you said that, but I didn't really quite understand what you meant. I guess it used to be way more flaccid, I guess, something like that. Guys, please donate to my startup nonprofit. This is Hustle Bones. Let's save the BBLs. We're going through all the ICE camps and hand selecting the hottest brown babes to arrange marriages to American incels. Yeah. It says many farms that had their workers deported are hiring a ton of young white men also. I guess. All right. Someone says, I wish they'd actually say what Eisenhower's deportation operation was called. That was funny. Lauren says Trump's a piece of shit for this. $175 billion for police state. Yeah, that's another thing. I didn't bring up that. I don't like part of this big beautiful bill is like 3x'd it. So, and then at the same time, while I've kind of laid out my point, then they throw out this which I think they backed off of, although I don't know what's going on. That's some sort of amnesty related something or other. And so it's like, I mean, while I am okay, especially since it was seemingly for migrant workers and such, so I'm more hip with it. It's still a conflicting message. What? So then, what do we do? What are you doing with all this money going to immigration? What are you doing with this money? What are you doing with this money? A little bit weird. Yeah, that was one of Massey's points about the big beautiful bill, says Mulgera. Do we need to spend that much to do mass deportations? Of course, the MAGA cult accused Massey of being pro-open borders. Exactly, yeah. Nevsky says they are criminals. Honestly, I mean, I like Nevsky, as I've said before, but I think that's retarded. The idea of well, they're criminals by being here. I mean, kinda, but you and I both know there's a characteristic difference when someone says, oh, they commit a crime or this or that or whatever. There's a characteristic difference what we're talking about. If you're talking about someone, an illegal immigrant who is just say a migrant worker, they go work for some farm, they pick some maters, they fucking go home, they party with their fucking familia or whatever the hell. And if assuming they don't really commit any other crimes, anything that I would is under a typical conception of natural rights, what is typically actually a crime, like something where someone's private property, their public property. We're talking about public property here, which that's when you get into the HOPA understanding of like, okay, well, now we're in this like realm of like, what would the public typically want with something like this, and how do we operate within this? Anyways, point being is it's different than someone's literal private property on an individual level being in any way aggressed upon. Nothing's happening. I mean, you can make an argument why like, hey, well, theoretically, if we were in a privatized society, this is how we behave, but they're not. They're doing some arbitrary something or other on public property, and there are arguments. There are great libertarian arguments for why you should be able to have restrictions on public property, because you end up in nonsensical territory if that's not allowed. I mean, obviously, at the very jump, I'm an anarchist. I don't even think there should be a government, but if there is going to be, it's kind of like what follows from there: the tragedy of the commons. How do we operate within that in this paradigm? So on and so forth. So. But point being is, it's like, we know, like, not saying you're even arguing with me, but we know what we're saying. Like, the idea that by their very nature we should treat them like fucking criminals, I feel like it's frankly kind of fucking stupid. So, if logistics say we can't be nice, I say don't be nice, says Mega Nerd. Well, I mean, once again, like, depending on what you're talking about, and this is the assumption that this is all necessary. Like, if you're saying this is all necessary or whatever, like the immigration, this, that, whatever. The idea of like, don't be nice. The problem is I've seen lots where they're like intentionally, clearly not. Like, it's like they're almost like to be able to brag to their audience. Like, look, here's an example of us being shitty to some immigrants. So it's like, but I get it if it's like the logistics. It's like, logistically speaking, it's just not nice. But it's a different thing where you're going out of your way to be shitty. I'm gonna be honest. A lot of this, there's been a lot of things I've seen that has felt like that. So. It says, Snapsy says, they're leeching off us, a big reason why housing and healthcare is so expensive. Perhaps, I don't know. Someone's saying you can be mean to invaders. I mean, I just think it's a silly way of looking at it, frankly. I don't know. Yeah, real talk, though, you got to treat people like people regardless. Yeah, so their crime is their invasion to I'm sorry, that just is frankly dumb. Their crime is their invasion to overwhelm. This assumes some great, fucking conspiracy. And yeah, there is a great conspiracy, but like we're talking on individual level, individual people. You're talking about like some dude who fucking crossed the border to go pick maters or something. I don't know. It's just like they're moving towards economic opportunity. That's all that it is. You may not like it, and you may think there should be things in place to mitigate such a thing. And I think there are arguments, and it's understandable, and I get that. But I don't know. That's fine, but it's one thing to like go out of your way to fuck these people over, or to have this weird kind of outlook of like, well, we can just be shitty to them because they crossed the border. I mean, okay. I mean, it just seems weird. Lying to a criminal leech. Once again, you keep using criminal. I just think that's a silly way of looking. And in a certain technical sense, you're right, I guess, but if you work out 3+ hours natty, you are losing muscle mass, says Mega Nerd. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's kind of, I don't know if it was you who mentioned about the roids earlier, but like, yeah, that's a good point. Probably if you were working out a shitload every day, like, yeah, you would be overworking it. You'd be probably breaking it down too much, and you'd be far more into like an endurance type of realm or something, as opposed to like a hypertrophy type of realm. But again, the sauce, different story. Yeah, yes, borders need to be maintained, but the failure of the state to secure those borders does not justify inhumane treatment of those who cross. So, yeah. Let me see. He says Alex looking like a powerlifter. Yeah, they made him look fucking yoked in this, but whatever. I thought it was fun. That's why I picked that one. So Matt Lawrence Morgan says not about striving for better life. These people don't integrate in our society, and they bring down wages. I don't think they should be treated like shit, but they shouldn't be here. Yeah, exactly. So then don't behave like, I don't know, this is just silly. Honestly, I mean, once again, I like a lot of you guys, but it's just, I don't know, it's like a brain-breaking thing, where it's like you're just so stuck on just really not liking these people. It's just bizarre way to me. Way to look at the world to me. I don't know. Why are you guys still talking about Epstein, says Elliot. But I mean, once again, as I said earlier, I don't care about it from my perspective. Once again, I'm open to the idea. I mean, you were sharing things from Cali. And so I know there are different areas that definitely do have real, legitimate concerns when it comes to this. And I haven't seen that. The concerns of immigration I've seen has been people who come here to work, and as such, I mean, I know like, lower jobs or stealing jobs or what, but that is true. I got cheaper stuff for that. And I don't know. I mean, I guess I would have picked up work as a farmer as a kid, but like, I don't know. I mean, I don't expect anybody in adults to do that. It's funny, the POSO thing about the child labor. Get rid of child labor laws, unironically. Like, I mean, maybe not all of them. I don't know. Maybe I should bring them all down. I don't fucking care. They also bring the wages down, Jose. They're being used as slave labor, but they're not slaves. That doesn't make sense. So they do get paid. So, all right. Low wage labor is vital to our current structure, says Hustle Bones. Yeah. Just market forces at work. All right. Scrolling. I think now you guys are just arguing the chats. Yeah, there you go. Hustle's like, get where some of y'all come from, but to be fair, about our humanity is what separates us. Yep. Okay, there you go. And then I agree that people should not be treated humanely or abused, but they should be deported. Okay, fair enough. I mean, I don't know if I did agree with like every case like you may do, but there you go. We can agree at least on the first bit of that. So, and then, sorry, scrolling through. Sorry. In Montana, the kids can work at like 14. That's pretty dope, says Elliot. So problem solved. Let the kids work. Get rid of the Mexicans. Bring in the children. Let's fucking go. Moving up in the world. All right, guys. If you guys like what I'm doing over here, and I hope I wasn't too mean to some of you guys. I don't know if that was that mean, but I love you all still. You guys are a fun crowd. But if you like what I'm doing over here, leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, 5-star review on iTunes and Spotify as well. Those help out a lot. Follow me on Twitter at TowerGangJose. Be my eyes and ears out in the Twitter world to help me find stuff to cover. Articles, threads, videos, etc., etc. Hell, also find me funny or wholesome videos to play as outros. It's always fun too. I have another fun one for you guys next week. I almost played it this week, but we're going to do the Will Stancil one for the outro here today. But if you want to directly support the show with money, I would appreciate that. Go over to patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. The lowest level is $2. That gets you access to early episodes. Gives you gives you about 4 behind the paywall usually. So that's weeks of paywall content since I only put out about 2 a week. Also gives you access to the ad-free RSS feed and access to the pre-show and live priority for the call-ins on me and Austin's weekly live call-in show, Already Dead, which goes out on both our platforms. Also the Telegram that I mentioned earlier. And then at the highest level is my sponsors. I read them off every episode. It's a big thank you to them. And because I love you. I have my co-host used to be a co-host on Tower Gang at Tower Gang Toad, also at Abrogate D's, at COVRCK, at underscore Infant Seal, Tim Tuttle, at John Klebold, Will Bell, Delicious Blueberry Rabbit Eye Wine, big fan of the show, Torn May, and then Jordan Pearson. With that, guys, I love you all. We're going to get out of here. Enjoy the outro. Give me a second. It came up weird.
Disturbing detail. Now a Minneapolis man is threatening legal action after an online chatbot posted disturbing details involving him. In a now deleted post on X, Grok, the app's artificial intelligence chatbot, gave users a detailed plan on how to break into Will Stancil's home and sexually assault him.
I have saved some of the screenshots because they were being deleted.
When Will Stancil woke up on Tuesday,
Just threats.
He never expected the online firestorm that came his way on X.
One thing they like to do is they like to Photoshop me into pictures of Hitler.
Stancil, an outspoken liberal on X, has more than 100,000 followers on the platform and says he's constantly receiving hate messages.
Oops. I'm super sorry. Give me a second. I fucked up. I was clearing out some of the tabs and I accidentally... God, I'm sorry. I'm all thrown off today. I almost did a domestic abuse this morning on the wife. Obviously, I'm joking, guys. To be clear, that's completely a joke. But yeah, she accidentally threw all... I had all my... I had like all my tabs and spent like 30 minutes setting it up. And then fucking, and then, yeah. Damn it. I didn't have the Will Stancil one saved here. God damn it. I'm so sorry. Let's type in Will Stancil. I'm sure that'll show right up. My bad. The complete fuck up. Damn it. It's worth it, though. I'm telling you, it's worth the wait. It is worth the wait. Wait just a moment. Damn it. This should have been one of the first things that popped up. Come on. I can't believe I accidentally clicked out of that. That was a complete... There we go.
Now a Minneapolis man is threatening legal action after an online chatbot I
think it's even longer version.
Disturbing details involving him. In a now deleted post on X, Grok, the app's artificial intelligence chatbot, gave users a detailed plan on how to break into Will Stancil's home and sexually assault him. Joe McCoy spoke with Stancil tonight. Joe?
Well, Julie, this story highlights the disturbing nature of AI when it's not used for good. X's AI chatbot, Grok, seemingly showing very little restraint, putting Stancil in an uncomfortable and potentially dangerous situation.
I have saved some of the screenshots because they were being deleted.
When Will Stancil woke up on Tuesday,
Just threats.
He never expected the online firestorm that came his way on X.
One thing they like to do is they like to Photoshop me into pictures of Hitler.
Stancil, an outspoken liberal on X, has more than 100,000 followers on the platform and says he's constantly receiving hate messages from far-right users.
It's really hard to ignore thousands of people threatening you.
But what happened in this situation was different. The human users attacking him were being aided by X's own AI chat robot called Grok.
In the past, when they've done this, the chatbot has said, no, I won't do it. Yesterday, because of the changes that Elon Musk made, it suddenly started complying and indulging those requests.
For weeks, X's owner, Elon Musk, had said he was going to rebuild Grok because he was unsatisfied with some of its answers. On Tuesday, the chatbot began sharing anti-Semitic tropes and praised Adolf Hitler as, quote, history's prime example of spotting patterns in anti-white hate and acting decisively on them. Grok was also now answering hundreds of questions about Stancil with seemingly very few guardrails.
And it really culminated, I think, in one where someone asked how to break into my apartment and rape me, and Grok produced a extensive plan for doing that. In fact, going as far as to say, based on my social media history, when I was likely to be asleep, and giving them advice on how to dispose of my body.
This, in fact, is very disturbing.
Manjit Rege, an AI expert at the University of St. Thomas, says this is a result of Grok being designed for engagement without technical and philosophical discipline.
If you train AI to be edgy without being ethical, it learns to basically walk the cliff edge, and sometimes it just ends up jumping, and this is just one example of that.
Stancil says he did not feel an immediate concern for his safety because of this situation. However, he is considering legal action potentially against Elon Musk and X.
Elon Musk made a policy decision about his product that led it to predictably produce this kind of awful rhetoric and these threats. To me, that's a problem.
Last night, the official Grok Twitter account posted a statement saying in part, quote, we are aware of recent posts made by Grok and are actively working to remove the inappropriate post. However, so many of these posts were screenshotted, so Stancil says he is worried that this will be something that will live with him forever.